should be able to come on.
What's going on, everybody? I'm gonna go straight into the news.
All right, there we
Netanyahu,
go. Can you see me?
Island, and then BB.
You're muted. I can't hear you. You probably muted yourself.
I was just talking to my stream. My bad.
Okay.
What's up, man? What's going on?
Good, bro. How are you?
I see you're God pilling right now. You're religion pilling. I like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not really much of a, I'm basically covering because I was talking about, Israel's need for security and everything else like that. And then I've been getting a lot of questions on the red cows over the past 2 days. And I was like, I've covered this before multiple times. And I was like, man, you know how you hate repeating yourself? So I did a poll. I was like, yo, do you guys want me to, cover the red cow thing right now? And they're all like, yes, 80%. So I keep forgetting that we got a lot of new viewers and stuff that aren't, up on this stuff. I was we're on the part right now where I was making jokes about them going into the, we're on this part right now.
The Romans.
Let me get it. Yeah, the Romans coming in and, destroying the temple and everything. And I was talking about how they're still pissed off about them taking the menorahs.
Yes.
They're still mad about this today. And I was trying to explain to my chat, I was like, yo, look, like this whole thing of them disliking Muslims, that's like a relatively new thing since the creation of Israel. But historically speaking, if you ask any devout Jewish person, they're always going to have bigger beef with the Christians.
Yeah. So historically, with the Christians, there's much more of a grievance than there is with the Muslims currently. I think right now, with the Muslims, it's more physical, but with the Christians, it's more spiritual. Because historically, Muslims have always opened grace arms for Jews. We saw that in Morocco. We saw that in other Arab nations when Jewish people were expelled and they were in the middle of their diaspora. They couldn't find a homeland. It was primarily the Ottomans and the Muslims that offered them safe land, safe grounds, keeping, signed treaties with them. Even the Prophet, in his time, he made peace with the Jews and he signed treaties with them. So Muslims historically have actually always kind of gotten along with Jews and learned to coexist with them. Just recently, it's kind of been this phenomenon where they've clashed heads very strongly.
Israel thing has been like, guys,
do not. 1948, that's when it started. But prior to 1948, historically, when we're talking about biblical times, post New Testament, post crucifixion, that's when the kind of like that Jewish Christian, anti-Christ sentiment, the whole fighting amongst one another started. So that and then it culminated into them being expelled from the Crusaders and other Christian kingdoms as well.
Yeah. So so it's very important that people know that because people always think that like this, Muslim Jewish beef is like ancient, and it's really not. And a big one is like the big push, and even Rabbi Shmuley will admit this. He says that the Muslims saved the Jews after 1492 when they got expelled from Spain. They were in a bad spot when they got kicked out of Spain.
Yeah, Shmuley admits it, and a lot of other Jews who study history actually admit that as well. By the way, OSS Mall, thank you so much for the 5 gifted, and DPG, thank you for the 50. Appreciate you guys. He says, welcome to the stream. Let's cook. Yeah, we're about to cook, baby. And OSS Mall, thank you so much. God bless. Desert Joe, thank you as well. Go ahead. Go ahead, bro.
Sorry, no, you finished with the reading. You go with the chats?
I'm all good. Desert Joe, thank you for the 5 gifted. We're caught up.
Tell them what what we were talking about last night with the Christians. I showed you that Quran verse. If you can kind of say that for them.
Ali Imran, chapter Ali Imran, which is the family of Imran, and it's verse 55, I think. But it says in the Quran.
I'm going through our conversation right now.
Yeah, it says in the Quran that you will certainly find those to be closest to the Muslims, being the ones who call themselves Christians. The verse goes, those who are most hostile to the Muslims are those who call themselves Jewish people or the polytheists, which would be the Quraysh tribe of Mecca. But those
Al-Ma'idah is what it's called. Medinan.
Oh, is it Al-Ma'idah? Okay, yeah. Surah Al-Ma'idah. And so, are you sure it's not Ali Imran?
I'm reading it right here. It says, you will find that the people most hostile towards the believers are the Jews and the polytheists.
And you will find that the nearest. It is Al-Ma'idah. Latajidan. Yeah,
Al-Ma'idah, Medinan, yeah.
Yeah, so that comes historically, and this kind of plays into this whole situation, but a little bit more of a strictly religious conversation. That verse was revealed. So the Quran was revealed in segments to the Islamic prophet, responding to certain situations at each given time. So all the verses do have some sort of contextual backing, as well as a general purpose of reminding people. And so that verse was revealed. The verse reads exactly, I'll pull it up here so I don't misquote it. Okay, so
it's in our text message too. Oh,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, so the verse reads, so this is chapter Ma'idah, which is the chapter of the table spread, referring to potentially Jesus' Last Supper, something that's very well known in Christianity as well. That's what the chapter is titled. And it is verse 82. This is the 5th chapter of the Quran. It says, "You will certainly find the most bitter towards the believers to be the Jews and the polytheists, and the most gracious to be those who call themselves Christian. That is because there are priests and monks among them, and they are not arrogant." And it goes on to say that when the verses are revealed to the messenger, you see their eyes overflowing with tears, whatever. The whole point is that there has been always this kind of, I don't want to say alliance, but this recognition from Christianity, because the similarity or the parallel between Islam and Christianity, which what this verse is highlighting, is that there isn't like this kind of ideology of hierarchy, in Christianity. It's obviously in the Catholic or Catholicism, you do have the Pope, but in terms of like one person being better than another just because of what they're born into or their lineage, that doesn't exist at all. Whereas in, Judaism, that does exist to a very large degree, especially with Orthodox Judaism. Maybe a little bit more moderate or, secular Jews would disagree, but that's not the case. That's not what the Talmud teaches. That's not what the rabbinical commentary states. And so Muslims have always kind of been gracious to Christians because they do share the belief. They're the only two religions that believe in Jesus Christ. Judaism completely rejects Jesus Christ entirely. I think you have some sentiments of Hinduism and those Asian religions, Buddhism, that recognize Christ as some sort of prominent figure. I don't know if they believe in him from a perspective of him being appointed by God, but in Islam, Christ is divinely appointed. He is divinely inspired by God to give the revelation. He's given the gospel. The only difference is his divinity. But in terms of him being the Messiah, him being the King of the Jews, that is agreed upon from the Islamic perspective. And so that's where you can see a little bit of a coalition being built. So the Quran highlights that as well. And it really is more so, a lot of Muslims are kind of misinformed in thinking that like currently the bashing or the clash between Judaism and Islam is larger than that of Judaism and Christianity. That's actually not the case. That's recent. And that's with the establishment of the Israeli state in 1948. Prior to that, again, Muslims and Jews got along quite well. It was the Christians that kind of attacked the Jews and, kicked them from certain lands in Europe and so on. And so they had more of an issue amongst one another in regards to their religion, as well as the fact that, an honest reading through the New Testament, Christ fights with the Jews. Christ fights with the Pharisees. A lot of people read the New Testament, and I don't know where like this mainstream Protestantism gets this idea that like Jesus Christ, at least from the New Testament reading, is like this nice, super forgiving, like I get it, turn the other cheek. But if you read Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Jesus is very rough with the Pharisees in his language. He condemns them. In certain instances, he curses certain people. And so you see this tension already very early on when Christ comes to the people. He's already fighting with these rabbis, with these Jewish authoritarians who have already set the law. And Christ is coming to say, this isn't the law. This is the law. You need to listen to me because I'm divinely appointed. So it all started from there, as well as the fact that
so that's why he was such a hardliner. He was talking to other Jews.
Exactly.
That followed, that were pagans.
Christ was a Jew. Mary was a Jew. Christ was born from Mary, obviously due to the miraculous birth, something that's believed in Islam as well as Christianity. Of course, the Pharisees at the time, or all the Jews really did not believe that. And so they slandered Mother Mary. They called her an adulterer, things of that sort. And that's what led to so much of the tension between Christ and the Jews. Not many people accepted his divine appointance. And so that's what ultimately led to, again, an honest reading of the New Testament, not this like kind of weird evangelical Zionist spin that you see nowadays from guys like Ted Cruz and so on. But an honest reading of the New Testament will tell you that the Jews got the Romans to obviously crucify Christ. Now, in Islam, and Christians get so mad about this, but in Islam, we do believe that as well, but we don't believe that it was Christ that was crucified. Now, people immediately run to like the body stunt double or the body double theory. That's not even really perpetuated in the text in the Quran. The Quran just simply says, وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ. They did not crucify him, nor did they kill him. It only appeared that way. And so there isn't this issue if a Christian from the time of the crucifixion or 600 years after were to believe that Christ was killed or Christ was crucified. The real contention is, if he was, why was he crucified, and was he God? That's where the contention is. But there's no real contention for a Christian at the time of Christ or a follower of Christ, an apostle, to believe that he was crucified. Now, obviously, you have the Christian argument saying, well, but they all died. The apostles were persecuted and stuff. And, you could do the whole religious argument. But that's kind of the difference, just to give you guys a little bit of a historical perspective. That's why Christ clashed heads with the Jews early on. But that's why Muslims always were able to get along with Christians very well, coincide with them even as early as the time of the prophet, because we recognize Jesus Christ. Matter of fact, the Muslims were expelled from Mecca for following the prophet's commands, just like the apostles were persecuted for following Christ. And they fled to Abyssinia, which is modern-day Ethiopia, if I'm not mistaken. And the Abyssinian king at the time was a Christian, one of the earliest Christian nations, and he gave the Muslims a safe land to keep. He gave the Muslims sanctity. He gave them safety in their land. They came to him. They said, look, we've been expelled. We want to live amongst you guys. He said, well, what do you believe? And the Muslim, there's a movie on this. It's called The Messenger, or The Message, I believe. I can't forget, but it's a movie on early Islam. And the king, the Christian king, actually found out that the Muslims believed in Christ. They revered Christ. They revered Mother Mary. And so they gave the Muslims safety in the land. So there is a very early connection between Islam, Christianity, and although the Jews can kind of connect the like strict monotheism, no Trinity thing to Islam, we are closer to the Christians simply because we don't have this kind of supremacist ideology that you see in the Judaism perspective. And I don't say that in a degrading way, right? I'm not trying to be a hater of any religion.
If you call yourself God's chosen people, by definition, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. And, you know, it's only inherited through being ethnically a Jew. If your mother's Jewish, that's passed down to you from your birth. And so that doesn't exist in Islam and Christianity.
Very important people realize that. It's an ethno religion.
Yes, humility is a big part of Islam. Humility is a big part of Christianity. A lot of Christians were mad about the Times Square thing, saying it says in Matthew that Jesus says not to pray in public. And so you see that sentiment in Islam and Christianity where, you know, showing off or being proud about your religion or this hierarchical thing where you're better than others, that's a major, major sin. And that's why I think those two religions are more likened to one another, as well as the fact that whether you like the Islamic beliefs or not, whether you like Islam or not, there's a greater benefit to being allied with the Islamic side or the Islamic world for the betterment of, you know, taking back control of the world, if you will. So kind of have to be a little bit covert because we're on YouTube, but you get where I'm drifting. You get my drift there. Of course, you're going to have your Islam haters, those who are Christians, but more often than not, Christians who take a lot of time to hate on Islam, I find usually have some sort of backing from a certain group of people, because that's the only benefit of such a motivation. And so I never really take them serious. Those people like Jake Lang and others, to me, to me, they're agents. You know what I mean? Or you know, there's a great. I mean, obviously we have the picture of him kissing the wall. I reacted to that on stream. It was very funny. But there is a great benefit to, you know, a close alliance, right? Sneeko and Nick, everybody else, like we have to all kind of come together. So that's that you find that in scripture. You know, you find that in scripture, obviously in the Quran, because the Quran comes 600 years after the New Testament, or about 500-ish years. So.
All right, so we'll get back to the video here. So yeah, they're still mad. The joke I was making was that they're still pissed off at the Romans and the Catholics for going in and destroying the temple and taking their menorahs and all their other ancient items.
Stood. The first temple was built by the prophet King Solomon, destroyed by the Babylonians when Nebuchadnezzar conquered Jerusalem, rebuilt as the second temple by King Herod, and destroyed again by the Romans when they conquered Jerusalem in the 1st century. This temple is central to the Jewish faith, and there is debate within Judaism over how and when the temple will be rebuilt. To Jews, this isn't just wishful thinking, it's a prophecy. The construction of the temple and the arrival of their Messiah is an event that will come to pass and vindicate the Jewish faith. Religious Jews long to reestablish not only their historic kingdom, but also their relationship with God. It is believed that before the first temple was conquered and destroyed, the spirit of Hashem, or God, abandoned the temple. So in a way, the relationship of the Jewish people to God has been severed and cannot be fully restored until the temple is reconstructed. For God's promise to the Jews to be confirmed, the temple must be rebuilt and the Messiah must appear. For thousands of years, this was completely out of reach until Israel reconquered Jerusalem from the Arabs in 1967.
When Commander Gore declared that the Temple Mount was back in Jewish hands, it rekindled hope for a long-awaited Third Temple.
The Six-Day War was a miracle of biblical proportions and was a cataclysmic opening of a new era for Israel and for the whole world.
All right, guys, new emote in. Small hat is in. Enjoy on Kick, niggas. You guys got a new emote. Small hat. It is there for the sub people.
This was seen by some as a divinely ordained event and a necessary step towards the re-establishment of the Holy Temple. But there's a problem, a massive problem. The Jews believe this temple must be rebuilt on Temple Mount, meaning the Al-Aqsa compound, the Islamic holy site, must be destroyed. And so despite controlling Jerusalem for the last 60 plus years, Israel has been quiet about any intentions to rebuild the temple, as this would be seen as a major—
Now they're overt about it. Now that October 7th is pushed off and like they're like literally like they've destroyed their enemies, now they're overt about it, because for a while they had to be kind of down low about it because obviously, you know, the Muslim world would go crazy. But now it's like they don't give a shit. They're like, yeah, we're gonna rebuild the temple, bro. It is what it is, man. Cry harder. You know, that's literally how they look at it.
Yeah,
provocation and incite
by the way,
war
just to
between
clarify,
Israel
a lot
and the
of people
Muslim
don't
world.
know this. Just want to say this really quick. The Dome of the Rock, that golden dome that you see, that everybody thinks is Aqsa Masjid, that's actually not Al-Aqsa Masjid. That's a part of it. But Masjid Al-Aqsa is a very large compound, and inside of it is Dome of the Rock. And that's where the supposed third temple should be, a good portion of that. So that's just for people to know, you know, when you see that golden dome, it is symbolic to be a holy place, and it is. I'm not saying it's not, but the actual Masjid Al-Aqsa is the entire compound itself, and there's another separate mosque where you can pray at. So it's this whole fenced-in area, which I think he showed, but just to let people know.
Yeah. And guys, you can thank Josie for the new hat. She made it. So shout out to Josie. She made that hat for you ninjas.
Working in the background are groups dedicated to the destruction of Al-Aqsa and the reconstruction of the temple. One such group, the Temple Institute, has worked diligently for years, raising money and awareness, and building relationships with powerful forces both in Israel and around the world to facilitate the construction of the Third Temple. And after decades of occupation and growing disinterest in the cause of the Palestinian people, their calls for the reconstruction of the temple have grown louder and louder.
Talk of rebuilding the temple is no longer considered a fringe idea.
Today, there is a lobby in the Knesset of how many members of Knesset that are constantly speaking about Jewish rights to pray on the Temple Mount. There are members of Knesset that actually talk about the rebuilding of the Holy Temple. Do you understand that 20 years ago, these people wouldn't have been given a moment on prime time television in Israel to say these things? They would have been laughed out.
So a few years ago, this was
Now these hardliners in the Likud party, they're all for it. Who is it that goes up to the Temple Mount all the time when they're not supposed to? It's Ben Gavir, right? If I'm not mistaken. He goes there to start problems. He literally goes there. Here, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Like this is the type of guy that Ben Gavir is. And for those of you that are wondering, I think he's like the Minister of the Interior Defense, if I'm not mistaken. He's kind of like almost like the Director of the FBI. Ben Gavir, Temple Mount. He goes there.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. What, did you want to say something?
No, I just have a couple chats. I don't want to let them pile up, but do this first.
Yeah, go ahead, read it.
Important. RP Sniper, W Religious Take, thanks so much. Mr. Hooligan, W Riyadh, W Myron, W to all the OGs, thanks. And then Desert Joe asked about the Knights Templar before the Pope turned against them. What was the relationship they had? Oh, the relationship between the Muslims and the Knight. I think they still fought a lot of Muslims. They coexisted in some aspects, but they still primarily fought Muslims for the most part, if I'm not mistaken. The Crusades and Muslims didn't really get along. You have Salahuddin and King Baldwin and all that. You got the movie. And so they had truces at times, but for the most part, they clashed heads. Go ahead.
So look at this. Here he is.
Flashpoint sight.
Now, just so you guys know, they're not allowed to go up and pray at the Mount because obviously they're not, because that's where the Al-Aqsa Mosque is. You can only go there if you're a Muslim, and they still go there. And Ben Gavir does it all the time to provoke fights.
Dozens of Jewish worship.
And some of you guys might not know who Ben Gavir is. Hold on, let me go ahead and show you, introduce you guys to this dude real quick. So, Ben Gavir, guys, is an Israeli politician and lawmaker who served as a minister of national security since 2022, except for a 2-month gap in 2025. He is the leader of the Otzma Yehudit, Jewish Power, an Israeli far-right Zionist and anti-Arab party that won 6 seats in the 2022 legislative election. This right here, guys, this guy's a hardliner. He wants all the Palestinians out of there, bro. He wants to eat all these niggas, man. Okay. Here we go. So, here's another thing. Ben Gavir is known for being a provocateur and has attracted headlines for a variety of reasons, threatening Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin on live television in 1995. Oh, and just so you guys know, Yitzhak Rabin was later killed in 96. He was assassinated by a far-right Likud party member because of the Oslo Accords. The Oslo Accords were an agreement between Yitzhak Rabin and Yasser Arafat to, begin the process of creating a Palestinian state. Obviously, they went ahead and got him murked for that. And then shortly before his assassination, and he has a portrait in his living room of Baruch Goldstein. For those of you that don't know, Baruch Goldstein is a Jewish terrorist and mass murderer. He went and killed several Palestinians at the mosque during Ramadan years ago, and he kept a portrait of this guy in his living room. That's the equivalent of like keeping a portrait of Osama in your bedroom, right? And no one bats an eye about this, right? I've told you guys this before, I'll say it again. Zionist terrorism is never actually looked at as terrorism. It was a wild double standard. And Israelis, I would argue commit way more acts of terrorism than Muslims do. It's just that no one ever talks about it. So let's see here. So he also calling in 2019 for the expulsion of Arab citizens of Israel who are not loyal to the state, inciting violent clashes between Jewish settlers and Palestinians in East Jerusalem and neighborhood of Sheikh Jarrah in 2021, and making highly controversial visits to the Temple Mount where Al-Aqsa Mosque is located in 2023 and 2024. So what I'm showing you guys is him going up there, and they're not allowed to go there, okay? It's for a very long time because it creates so many political issues for them. Jews are not allowed to go up there, but they go up there anyway to provoke and start issues. So here we are.
Worshippers openly prayed and bowed in the Temple Mount on Tuesday.
Now you guys have an idea of who this guy is. And then also, here's the other scary part, and I'll say this before I continue on with the video. He is the Minister of National Security.
Yeah.
Okay? Bad. That's really fucking bad, chat, okay? I would say this is the equivalent of what? Probably that's probably the maybe, like it'd be like maybe a Kash Patel / like director of I'm trying to think here, like the U.S. equivalent, because national security, that's going to encompass like, because if you go here, which agencies are in it? Government of Israel. So it's the Israel Police, the Israel Prison Service, National Fire, blah, 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 Israel Border Police, National Headquarters, National Authority for Community Safety. Yeah, basically, bro, this guy's like the equivalent of like, he's a combination of the Attorney General in America, so like a Pam Bondi and a Kristi Noem, even though Kristi Noem I know is not going to be DHS secretary anymore. Like he basically controls like all the law enforcement in the country. Okay, this guy's like the head of all the law enforcement, both interior, all that shit. They all answer to him. Okay, and this guy is a crazy far right hardliner. Here he is starting issues,
blatantly defying the sensitive status quo procedures for the Flashpoint site. They received support from Israel's National Security Minister and another minister, both visiting the site to mark Tisha B'Av, the day of mourning over the destruction of the two ancient Jewish temples that stood at the site.
We're on Tisha B'Av, the Temple Mount. We have come here to commemorate the destruction of the temple. It should be said honestly that there is very, very great progress here in the governance, in sovereignty, in images of Jews praying. Our policy is to allow prayer, but I also say one more thing. We must win this war. We must win, not go to summits in Doha or Cairo, but to defeat them, to bring them down to their knees. This is the message. We can defeat Hamas and bring them down to their knees.
Considered the holiest site in Judaism and the third holiest site for Muslims, the Temple Mount and Al-Aqsa Mosque compound is governed by a vague, unwritten status quo. Under these agreements, non-Muslims may visit the site in the heart of Jerusalem's old city, but are not allowed to pray. However, these limitations
to get through these chats, I don't want them to pile up. Trevor Lambert, I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for explaining the theology to us. Thank you so much.
Under the responsibility of
Daily Griff, your notification's not coming up. I know it's weird. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Living life with $100. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you. Don DeMarco, everybody go like that super chat. Thank you so much, Living Life. God bless you for the support. Daily Griff, I don't get notified when I have notifications on. That's really weird. Guys, let me know if you get notifications. Thank you for that, Daily Griff. I'll look into that. And then, is there a mosque or a synagogue at Temple Mount? Well, yeah, you got the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Your camera overheated, bro. They shut you down, nigga. They shut you down. I see it on my screen.
Oh, damn. Hold on. I didn't even turn my fans on, bro. That's why. I'm an idiot.
Bro got hit with the shut it down right away, bro.
I'm an idiot. Hang on. I'll fix that.
Orthodox.
You can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
All right. I was reading chats. That's why I was muted.
No, you good.
Trevor Lambert says, is there a mosque or a synagogue at Temple Mount? Yeah, the Al-Aqsa one. But that's what we're going to get through the video, so I don't want to spoil it for you, Trevor, but your question will be answered very shortly.
But you guys get the idea. This is Ben Gavir right here. This is the type of nigga that he is, bro. And when was this? This happened a year ago? Like, yeah, dude is doing this right in the middle of the fucking Hamas war and all this shit, provoking stuff. Like, this is what these niggas do, man.
Zealots, lunatics, peculiar. Today it's mainstream.
And this group is also supported by powerful evangelical Christians in the West.
Riyadh, I will never understand, why do evangelicals support this dude? Like, what?
Yeah,
this does not make sense to me.
Yeah, so evangelical Christians have this whole idea where the Old Testament and its prophecies are still binding. So it's interesting, really. And it's due to infiltration. I hope my camera doesn't shut off again, so bear with me. I forgot to turn the fan on. If I go dark, just listen, guys. But with evangelical Christians, they use passages that you find in Genesis, in Ezekiel, and others. These are books of the Old Testament. This is the Hebrew Bible, the first 5 books, better known as the Torah, right? And if you don't know, Christians and Jews share the same scripture, that being the Hebrew Bible or the Old Testament, at least the first 5 books. And in there are a lot of prophecies that have to do with the greater Israel, right? Or what is promised to the Jewish people by God. Now, any honest reading of the New Testament, or most Christians now, believe that that law was abrogated by Christ coming and his crucifixion. But with the evangelicals, they still have this belief that there needs to be this Jewish supremacist state that is set up in a manner where the Antichrist can enter. That's why they believe the temple needs to be built. And for the temple to be built, they need the red heifers. They need control of the region. They need to expand their borders. When the Antichrist comes, that's when Christ comes. So the evangelical Christians, or Zio Christians, primarily depend on Old or Hebrew Bible prophecies to fulfill the first step of what will bring about Jesus Christ. But they have the wrong reading because, again, the New Testament denies this by saying the kingdom is no longer physical. So it's no longer this chosen people who are only exclusive to Jerusalem, that are born of a certain lineage, being the descendants of Jacob or Yaqub, right? The children of Jacob, also known as Israel. Now the kingdom is spiritual. What does that mean? You have to, and I'm just giving the Christian perspective, you have to believe that Christ died for your sins, and Christ is God, Christ is Lord incarnate, and Christ rose on the 3rd day. If you believe that, there's no more physical. It's all spiritual. Anybody can be saved. Now, salvation is not just for the Jews. It's for anybody. But the Zio Christians kind of conflate Old Testament prophecy, and they think that that's what's going to bring about the rapture, and then the Christians will be saved. And you don't find that in other belief systems in Christianity, right? Like in Orthodoxy, Catholicism. Even a lot of Protestants know that that's a load of horse shit. But there is still a very strong appetite from the evangelicals to bring about this 3rd temple, which will, bring about or lead steps to Christ coming back.
And just so you guys know, after we do this, me and my brother will give you guys some analysis on day 16 of the war. We'll go into the war and give you guys updates after this, because you guys wanted this Red Cow thing. And then after that, don't worry, we'll cover the true crime stuff and the Red Pill documentary. But we're going to give you guys religious stuff for the cows and also war analysis right after this. Go ahead, bro.
The farm that's in Texas that supplied these red heifers, I believe I could be mistaken here. I'm not sure if this is real, but I believe it's owned by evangelicals, is it not? That farm that supplied the red heifers. But that probably I'll fact check that. But go ahead, you can play the video.
Yeah, they bought it, but they did buy him in Texas and move him over there, and that's what Abu Ubaidah was like, what the fuck?
By powerful evangelical Christians in the West. For evangelicals, they view the construction of the temple as a necessary precursor to the return of Christ. It's a bit of an unholy alliance.
So fucking weird, bro.
He just explained what I said. Oops.
Andrew Wilson did a whole debate on this against dumbass, what's that nigga's name? Apostate Prophet, and absolutely cooked him, bro, on this topic of how there's no, like, Christian Zionism is like it doesn't make sense.
It's probably the easiest, again, Christian Zionism and evangelical Zionism, or evangelical Christianity, I apologize, is the easiest argument to defeat because it has no basis whatsoever. Like, you may actually be able to make a better case for, like, Israel versus Palestine and the whole 1948 Balfour Declaration and everything more than you can for, like, Christian Zionism. There's no backing because the New Testament debunks it entirely.
Let's see here. Andrew Wilson, apostate prophet. Like, dude, he embarrassed him in his opening thing. Like, it was so bad.
Thank you so much, James. Thanks to Uncensored.
So he gives his opening.
12-minute opening as well. The floor is all yours, Andrew.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
After this, it was over.
By
you
the
want
way,
me to go?
The red heifers were supplied by evangelical Christians in Texas, from what I'm seeing.
There you
so,
go.
yeah, they work hand in hand.
That makes sense. All right, we'll watch this real quick, just to show you guys this ridiculous concept. And for those of you that are wondering, my guy Andrew Wilson is an Orthodox Christian, aka the real niggas. I look at Orthodox Christians and Catholics are the real niggas in my opinion. Okay, the old Protestants are too, the ones that followed Martin Luther, but they don't follow him no more. So you niggas are cucked. A lot of you guys. But
before we dive into the topic at hand, can we get a standing ovation for Ridvan and his acceptance as an Orthodox catechumen? Welcome home, brother.
Oh, he's an Orthodox and he's saying this dumb shit? What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
I could give my opinion on him in a moment, but to me, that guy is just a grifter.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now it's time for you to lose. It's often in the ambiguity that people make emotional arguments instead of using logic and reason, and that's exactly what you will see tonight from my opponent, which you did. Which is why I wanted to narrow the topic to avoid this ambiguity. You'll see from him emotional rhetoric, but no actual arguments, which we didn't. The topic at hand is simple enough. The proposition is, do Christians have some sort of ought to support the political ideology of Zionism? Apostate prophet says yes, I say no. For the purpose of this debate, I will be using the most charitable definition
Halu
of Zionism,
sends in a super chat.
which
Evangelicals
is
and
the one
Scientologists are the same to me.
debate,
Yeah,
so
I
that
agree.
everyone's clear.
Both have no
A
basis. Thanks for the super chat, man.
Originally, the reestablishment and now the development and protection of a Jewish nation, which is now Israel. Seems straightforward enough, so let's get into it. I will be presenting 4 logical arguments for why Christians have no such obligation, secular or otherwise, to support this Jewish political endeavor. I will order them with my weakest objection first and my strongest objection last. Note, I have many more arguments than the ones I'll lay out tonight, but for the sake of time, I'll just stick with 4. To preface these arguments, I'll explain that Ridvan cannot make the claim that the religion of Judaism isn't part of Zionism. The right of return applies to both religious and ethnic Jews. Israeli law defines Jewish as someone who is born to a Jewish mother or who has converted to Judaism. In other words, the very people group defined as both religious Jews and non-religious Jews, emphasizing all Jews have the right of return. According to legal expert Nancy C. Richmond in her analysis of Israel's law of return published in Penn State International Law Review, quote, while Israel is not a theocracy, the Jewish religion has a central role in Israeli politics because the main purpose of the country's establishment was to create an independent Jewish state, end quote. This analysis is shared by virtually every scholar I can find.
And it's important for you guys to understand that the state of Israel uses that, how do I say this, loosely, right? So they use it as a tool. So in other words, if they can lean on the secular side and be like, oh, well, ethnicity-wise, you're Jewish, cool, come in. Or they can also use the religious side to justify it as well. So a lot of the times what ends up happening with Zionism is it's a political movement rooted in religious ideology, but what will happen is they will forfeit the religious ideology whenever it serves
their purpose.
Whenever it serves. So they're able to basically double dip, right? Because if you look at the people that created Zionism, right? You look at, like, for example, Theodor Herzl, right? This guy right here. You guys are getting like a fucking history class here. Holy shit.
By
you
the
guys
way,
better
Lord Socrates sends in $10. Catholic and Orthodoxies don't hold the same rapture idea. Yeah, I know. I don't think the rapture has no basis, by the way. That's an evangelical belief. I know. That's what I meant. Thanks for the $10.
Yeah.
You'll find that's like a Protestant kind of evangelical Zio-Christian belief. The day of judgment's obviously a thing, right? But the whole like rapture, everybody will be lifted up. That's evangelical nonsense. Go ahead.
So this guy Theodor Herzl, just so you guys know, this is the father of Zionism. He's the one that basically made the movement. And for what the political Zionism that we have nowadays, right? He obviously, began and organized the migration to Palestine. But I think it's important that you guys understand that he had multiple other places that he was going to pick. Madagascar was on a list, and so was, I think, somewhere in Argentina. The reason why he settled on Palestine is because there was strong religious ties there. So he knew that from a political, he would be able to kind of double dip at both ends. If he's able to, he can make it, obviously it's a political thing to him, but he was able to pull in on the religious angle to bring in the Orthodox Jews and the religious Jews in. So, and now some of them fought back. If you talk to like really Orthodox Jews, they'll tell you we're not supposed to be in Israel until the Messiah comes back. Why are we over there? Right? Like a lot of these like super religious Jews that like are in Brooklyn or stuff like that. I know my brother knows more about them. And they'll say like, we shouldn't even be over there. Like a lot of these like anti-Zionist Jews that you guys see like protesting saying, this is bad.
They're a staggering minority, but they exist, and there's a good amount of them in New York. Yeah, but they're a staggering minority, but they believe that they did break the covenant, and so they have to wait for their Messiah to come back before they can make any sort of physical coverage in the Holy Land or Jerusalem for that matter. But yeah.
But yeah, so it is important to understand that like Zionism does have a religious undertone, and it's a political ideology, but they use both whenever it best suits them for the preservation of Israel. So like, and this is why it's fairly ambiguous, as you can see from what Andrew is seeing here, that they can double dip here.
Yeah.
Anti-Zionist, and is logical due to the fact that if Zionism really had nothing to do with the Jewish religion, it wouldn't specify Jewish converts as being allowed this right of return. Very simple. This is an important preface as apostate prophet.
Yeah, that's interesting that Jewish converts also are lumped into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's also very, very interesting.
I mean, they're from mainstream Orthodox Judaism, right? Any Hasidic Orthodox Jew who legitimately follows the Talmud and Maimonides, all the biggest scholarly voices. I don't think that a convert is legitimately accepted. And if they are, they're of a lesser category.
Yeah. You'll never get it. Like Jared Kushner's wife that converted, like, bruh, she's never going to be accepted full on.
Yeah, like,
I'm sorry.
It's not actually all the way there, and that comes from this spiritual belief. I'll stop. I'll explain this vaguely, and then I'll stop because this is where things get whatever. But that kind of comes from the spiritual belief where there is some sort of grounding, and you see the biggest voices. Maimonides being one of the biggest Jewish scholars ever. He's taken as an authority for many rabbis today and previously, and has helped to contribute a great deal towards the Talmud, which is rabbinical commentary of the Torah, because although the Torah is explicit in its law, it doesn't have every single categorical law and details to follow. And so it's the rabbi's job to kind of supplement and fill in those gaps. By the way, that's why the Quran condemns the rabbis or the Jewish people, because they have kind of taken it upon themselves with their own authority to add in the law and add their own ambiguity wherever it kind of matters or it fits their criteria, rather than actually giving a legitimate and honest good faith exegesis. They kind of just make the law themselves. And part of that is that, the Jewish people have, a spiritual essence that's greater than that of a non-Jewish person or a Gentile, right? With their soul. There's a real belief in that, but I don't want to, it gets dicey. So we'll keep it there. we'll keep it there for the sake of the platform that I'm on.
It's going to argue this as a secular
Go ahead.
State, and that's simply untrue as a matter of fact. This leads me to argument 1. There is no ought under Christian ethics to support other religions which specifically oppose doctrine and an established.
Our says, thank you so much for the knowledge. Hey, thanks for the $10, man. Thanks for being a great supporter. God bless you.
Incorrect by every major Christian branch. This includes the Eastern Orthodox Church, which apostate prophet is converting to, as well as mainline Protestant and Roman Catholics.
And that tells you that he just cucked for money at that point. Like, bro, your own religion opposes this ideology, and you're over here like supporting it, which there's no other reason but to get push in social media, get some more clout. And honestly, because he just dislikes Muslims so much.
There's a huge financial incentive, dude. There's a huge financial incentive to not be Jewish and support this idea. Look at Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. Look at other very big names who have gone to Israel and done the whole bit. So it's there's a huge financial incentive. And that's why anybody who supports it, who doesn't actually identify with the faith or was born into the faith, is immediately, to me, discredited. They're not even worth a debate. But it was nice to see Andrew smoke this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think just off what we saw here, these guys keep telling me Sneeko debated some guy named Nick Mato, whatever the fuck this dude is.
Who? Was it the Zionist he debated the other day on Kick?
I think so. I think these niggas might want us to react to that shit. I don't know.
Yeah, we can. I think I know what he's talking about. If that's
let's finish this Red Cow thing. Quick war recap, and then if we have time, we'll cover that.
Let's go.
Because the Jews
believe. They said Sneeko got cooked. I don't know about that. We'll watch it though.
I watched it. Yes, I know what they're talking about. I watched it. Go ahead.
You did watch it already?
I watched it.
Okay,
yes,
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. So should we react to it?
We could react to it after the war coverage. Yeah.
Jews will serve the Jews.
Go ahead.
When the Messiah returns, while the evangelicals believe that Christ will return and either convert or kill the Jews. Bit of an awkward relationship. The means to get there are the same for both groups, however. Al-Aqsa must be destroyed, and the temple must be rebuilt. And this puts them at odds with the Muslim world, primarily the Palestinians who view.
And they kept it under the wraps for a while, but now they're open about it, dude. They're openly talking about it in Israeli television nowadays, now that they have this war with Iran and they're almost complete.
View themselves as the defenders and custodians of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Okay, so we have historical context now, but what does this all have to do with cows? Well, according to Jewish theology, the temple cannot be reconstructed until the Jews of Israel are purified.
Some retard says, Myron, you're my favorite streamer, but I was watching a previous stream and you said Islam is tolerant to other religions. Time has proven you wrong without a doubt.
I'm sorry. Wow.
What the fuck are you talking about? Kazaris, you dumb fuck. Here's the thing. They're tolerant of only, number one, people of the book, and then number two, you got to pay the what is it called? The jizya?
The jizya, yeah. So
yeah, you got it, which is a tax that you got to pay. So they are tolerant, but it comes at a cost. And they've been more tolerant than the other religions. So what the fuck are you talking about? This has been proven with the Ottoman Empire, bro. Jews were able to go to the Ottoman Empire and not get fucking crucified. Yeah. Or sorry, not be persecuted. Sorry. What were you gonna say? That's a fucking fact, dumbass.
Under Islamic law in the caliphates, you see this with one of the close apostles of the Prophet Muhammad. His name is Umar ibn Khattab, who is the second successor after the first one being Abu Bakr. And when he went to Jerusalem, his coexistence with the Christians and the Jews at the time was remarkable. And you see this persisting as a theme throughout Islamic history. Muslims have actually always offered Christian safety. Yes, you pay the jizya tax, but what does that come with? That comes with guaranteed protection from any sort of enemy invader, any sort of foreign state coming in. You can have your churches, you're free to worship, and you don't have to fight. If anyone comes to the country to invade, to try and conquer, to try and impose, the Christians don't have to fight, the Jews don't have to fight. So long as you fulfilled this tax, then you're protected by the Muslims, as well as the fact that that tax is actually just utilized for charity. And the tax percentage, or the jizya percentage that Muslims charge on non-Muslims in a Muslim-occupied or theocratic regime, is less than what a Muslim himself has to pay. This is called zakat. It's one of the 5 pillars of Islam. The percentage that a Muslim has to pay for charity is higher than the Christians have to pay for tax. So we tax ourselves, that's imposed from our religion, in a larger percentage more than the non-Muslims who live under our guaranteed safety with said tax. So again, maybe in modern times, especially after 1948, because of tensions in the region, the Arab Muslim world developed this pattern of extremism, terrorism. That's true. No one will deny that. But prior and historically, without any sort of agitating state like we see now, Muslims actually coincided very well with Christians and Jews. Yeah, of course, they fought crusaders, but that was for the ownership, or that was for the desire of the Holy Land, that being Jerusalem, as well as other places. Of course, you have Muslims who went in, and I won't deny the fact that the Ottomans had their fair share of kind of genocidal acts. You know, I get that, but that's history. But ideologically, Islam teaches that so long as Christians and Jews live amongst you, you must allow them to worship, and they pay a very small percentage that guarantees their safety. So ideologically, that's not true. But again, it's Hasbara that's spun constantly.
All right. And then we'll be in California April 7th. Where can I find your future events? Is there a site? Still waiting on a confirmation from Sean, guys, on that. Rhett, I texted you too, by the way.
And the process of purification requires the sacrifice of a rare type of cow.
It says that God spoke to Moses and Aaron saying, "This is the ritual law that God has commanded, instruct the children of Israel to bring you a red cow without blemish, in which there is no defect, and on which no yoke has been laid." So it says that we're supposed to take a perfectly red cow with no white hairs or dark hairs at all, and a cow that no yoke has ever been on. So as a result, it's very, very rare to find a baby cow that is completely red.
It's basically the bougiest cow of all time. This kind of red heifer has been incredibly difficult to find. Even with genetic modification and breeding, finding the perfect red heifer domestically in Israel has been near impossible. But in 2022, 5 of these perfect red heifers were discovered on a ranch in Texas. The Temple Institute in Jerusalem spent over $500,000 to airlift these red heifers to Israel, where they were placed on a secretive farm for protecting.
$500K for cows is crazy.
And grooming. Yeah. Now, they were too young to sacrifice in 2022. Per the rules of their theology, the Jews cannot sacrifice these heifers and purify the...
Sorry.
No, it's fine. The cows can't even have one gray hair. Like, it has to be perfect, top to bottom. Really quick, Lord Socrates says, I appreciate how educated you are on Christianity and how you differ the legit Christians from the fake Zio ones. Much love from a Catholic. Hey, God bless you, man. Thanks for the $20. Myron finally lets you talk and listens to W Chemistry. That's from Nora Adrenaline. He always lets me talk. I've been talking more than him the last few streams. And then last one here. Paul Leotov says, Ottoman Empire had something called blood tax where they came and kidnapped young Christian kids and they were forced into Islam and put into the Janissary army, their elite force. Yeah, look, the Ottomans weren't innocent, but the Crusaders also weren't innocent. They killed so many innocent Muslims as well. They attacked Muslim caravans. All these historical religious armies had their fair share of blood guilt and persecution of innocent people. The Ottomans did do some crazy things, but so did every other very strong religious army or theocratic regime at that time. That's what history is. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, iconic mystery. Muslims never protected the Jays. Okay. We be in California, read that one. Totally off topic, but when are you going to do another Overwatch stream? I'm done playing Overwatch, bro. Overwatch is a dead game now at this point. Nobody plays it. Everyone moved on. If anything, it'll be Marvel Rivals. So yeah, I don't play that anymore. And then also, real quick, I just want to thank everyone that gifted a sub. So make sure Clayton Bigsby, DP187, Dark Knight, Mangoy does, Rain Man, Myron Unfiltered, Clayton Bigsby, Rain Man, all you guys, DC Badass, shout out to all you guys for the gifted subs. Appreciate you, ninjas. And then
Jews of Israel until they reach a certain age.
The book of Numbers explains that ashes of the red heifer are...
Okay, this is where shit starts getting crazy, Chad. All right, pay attention. Now they're going to talk about what they're going to do with the heifers when the time comes.
...used to purify priests for their service in the temple. These red heifers are now between 1.5 to 2 years old. To replicate the ceremony mentioned in the Bible, they need to be at least 3 years old.
In April of this year, these heifers will be of age and the sacrifice can commence. To prepare for this, the temple
and just so you guys know, they already killed one heifer as a practice run. When was this released? 2 years ago? So I think a couple of the cows are still alive, but I know the dude, what's his name? Adam, whatever the fuck, Adam King. He was literally on fucking Tim Pool. I'll show you guys a clip right now. And he had the ashes. Look at this fucking craziness.
This was a big thing over at InfoWars and on the dissident right media for the longest time. The Jew hate media. Yeah, do you have
okay, if you say so, buddy.
My tweet that I actually put on my... So I basically, what happened, if you want to go to the first slide first before we play the video.
Why is this yarmulke so big?
It's not, yeah, it's
about a month ago on July 1st.
It's not hate, though. It's just we're doing our homework. We studied, bro.
Yeah.
We're just
we studied, bro.
We're Luke Belmar.
So he's going to talk about, this was I think last year in July.
Fast
forward this.
The cow's name was Tikva. They made the offering, and I actually, it was a real offering. They did it all by the laws, and I have with...
So, yeah, does that mean that they killed the red cow, or was it like another cow?
No, they killed the actual one. I believe the first one's done.
They killed one of the red cows?
Yeah.
With me, some of the ashes right here, red heifer ashes.
Oh shit! They did kill one then.
Pretty incredible. Yeah. The red heifer. The last time that the red heifer was done was over 2,000 years ago.
So you find
the first time it was done by Moses.
I'll let him finish. Go ahead.
The second time it was done by Ezra from the book in the Bible, and that shows you how long the ashes can last for. So a pure red heifer doesn't come about all the time. And in this generation, we had 21 of them that were born. Pure. They picked 7 to bring to Israel. And out of the 7, Israel only allowed them to have 5 brought in. And they've been sitting around just doing nothing because the media outrage has been so astronomical about it.
Yeah, because we know why you guys brought those cows there.
Yeah.
And, the media outrage is because people know why you guys brought those fucking cows there. You guys want to destroy the mosque and literally bring the end of times. That's why people are pissed off. Like what? It's funny how he doesn't say why they're pissed off. He just says, even me, someone who's not religious, I understand the serious religious undertones and connotations of what bringing those cows over to Israel symbolizes.
Yes.
But the red heifer people, they fooled everybody, and they successfully performed the ritual about a month ago. Now, in the ritual, you're supposed to have hyssop. I have also hyssop that is from the actual ritual, and also the red heifer.
What the fuck is hyssop?
Ashes.
I have no idea.
And these
what
get
that
put
is.
into a clay jar and then sprinkled on people in a healing ritual. And it removes the impurity of death and allows for people to heal. So since this started,
yeah, that's cool. The point of the ashes, though, to purify the one who is going to be subject to the process is to enter the temple. So that's what the ashes are subjugated for. That's why the whole Hamas situation happened on October 7th. If those cows are sacrificed and it goes well, because they have to be sacrificed in a certain way and burned, and the ashes are taken and collected, and they purify the person, then the next step from that is obvious. The Masjid al-Aqsa has to be destroyed or removed. That's why they're hollowing out the underground of the compound, the entire complex. They have to build that third temple, but they need the purified person first. So, yeah, it can be for that whole death thing that he's talking about, but I want to see if he's actually going to be honest and admit that it's for the entrance and the starting of the purification process.
All right, let's see what he says.
Sprinkling on people. There was a man with Alzheimer's who just started remembering everything, sight to the blind. There's some real miracles that have happened in the last month since this thing has gone down. But the ashes, just like I have a little bag, there was 10.5 gallons of ashes. And this is only a dime bag full. And these ashes have been disseminated. They're here to stay. They will never be found. So many people have them. And this little bag can power about 10,000 doses.
Power about it. That makes it sound like really potent cocaine.
It packs a punch. Yeah.
This is the
Rhett, will this rise to the level of Kabbalah or no?
It is already. So what
this
he's
is Kabbalah.
saying,
Okay, I just want to make sure.
There's a realness to that. Like that stuff is real, you know. And I don't think it's holy interference. I think it's sihr. You know, I think that's magic. I think that is, you know, some sort of egregore type of entity. I don't know how I can say it loosely without sounding crazy or, you know, violating myself on this platform. But for lack of a better term, there's realness to that stuff. You know, like you obviously have good force, you have evil force. Both have, you know, mystical powers. So there's a legitimacy to that. When he's saying it could heal a blind person, or whatever, there could be, you know, a potential reality to that. Funny enough, you know, on the opposite end, when Christ was healing the leper and walking on water and raising the dead and all these miracles that are described in the New Testament and even the Quran, the Jews said, hey, that's magic. Like, hey, that's sihr. You know, he's a magician. He's a sorcerer. His mother's a sorcerer. So, you know, it's kind of the same situation from my perspective as to, you know, these ashes. There is some, you know, kind of Kabbalah lore to that. So
this is the stuff right here.
It's unsettling, man. This is real stuff. Like, this is not BS.
This is the but we could go smoke this after the show, but no, I'm just kidding. Come back from the dead after you do something like that. But I have a video from the ritual, and if you want to play it, I don't know if you it has copyrighted music. Can you slide it so people could see the slide?
Yeah, I've been doing that.
So these are the slides of the actual ceremony being taken place, and that's tikva, and everything was done specifically according to halacha, which is Jewish law.
Mm-hmm.
It was a perfect cow. And
IMZ286 says, making Hindus happy for a moment until they hear the end. Yeah, facts. Thanks so much, man. Aaron Angus, Jesus Christ, I forgot about that Tim Pool video. Yeah, man, this is a crazy video.
Been burdened with work, so you can't even lean a shovel up against the cow. They have to be treated in a very specific way for their whole life, and then the person who does the ritual can never have been in contact with death. So basically, they're not allowed to go to. They have to be of a specific bloodline. And what they do was they raise these children in like these elevated homes above the ground, and they never leave the home until they're ready to do the rituals. And that's like how they never come into contact with death. So the priest who did this literally lived in his home for over 20 years.
Yeah, they have to be secluded.
Never
this is
left.
The person that is chosen to enter the temple. So they cannot be ritualistically impure, which if you've ever handled a dead body, been around one, that would render you ritually impure. There's a term in Hebrew. It's like tumat em, something like that. I can't remember, but there's a term for somebody who's ritually impure. So it's a very specific person who's tasked with being purified with said ashes to start the onset of this, ritualistic process that is eventually meant to bring upon the Antichrist. And that has to happen inside of the third temple, which is where Masjid al-Aqsa is currently located. And this is scripturally supported. If you go in the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible, it goes into the details of the red heifer, the sacrifices historically, like he was talking about with Moses and other figures in Numbers, the book of Numbers, I think 19, I can't remember, but this stuff is like, I just want to give this supplementary or supplement some commentary to, in fact, kind of vindicate this guy. This is real stuff. This is not like BS. This is real, true, like Kabbalah, mystic, Judaism. Like this is all Talmudic Judaism. It's real.
Okay. So it's interesting because he's admitting why they did this ritual. He's talking about, oh yeah, heals all these people, blah, blah, but now he's admitting the real reason.
Because he was born to do this ritual.
Wow.
And now that it's been done, the Messiah can come.
Okay, so this is you're talking about the return of the
return
Messiah.
of the Mac. Here we go.
So this is like the Jewish Messiah is going to come back. Would that be similar? Would that be like the return of Christ, or would it be a different?
Here's
guy?
the thing: I think the most fundamental difference between Judaism and Christianity is that Judaism actually believes in reincarnation, and so the Messiah is here in every generation. And there's a process by which we are awakened enough to accept the Messiah. So if the Messiah doesn't come, he dies, he's reconstituted, born into the matrix again, and has to find his way back to another thing.
Interesting. So they did that. So they're doing it in parts. They did it. So the first time they did it, now looks like to me, they did it just to get the ritual person. So this makes sense with the prophecy.
Yes.
And here's the thing, that interview is hard to find, guys. I had to go digging for that shit. They kind of like, they shelved that interview, chat. Like they didn't really want. I think Adam kind of fucked up by admitting that shit.
And I think Tim probably caught a lot of heat for that. And
he definitely did.
This is real. Like this actually exists in all the religions. This will happen. God forbid in my lifetime. Please let me be dead. I don't want to live to see that. I don't want to live to see or deal with that trial or tribulation of the Antichrist being upon earth, because it's explained in Islam as the greatest test mankind will ever receive. But this is real in Christianity, or Christian eschatology, Islamic eschatology. There will be a holy Jewish figure that will come for the modern day Jews. So that is, it's going to happen, religiously. If you're of one of the three faiths, it's not if, it's just when.
All right, let's go back to this.
Other groups have been making all sorts of preparations. Firstly, the sacrifice must be made by the perfect priest, not only trained in the process of sacrifice, but also with a direct bloodline to the prophet Aaron.
There we go. That's what your boy King was talking about.
Of the prophet Moses. The sacrifice must also be made east of the Temple Mount, around the Mount of Olives, where the priests can be within sight of the compound itself. And this land
you can
has
see the
already
Dome of the
been
Rock
purchased.
from there.
According to those working on the project, the ceremony of the red heifer needs to be performed on the Mount of Olives,
Dome of the Rock right
and
there.
in a
See?
place that would have looked
right
direct
behind him.
Right here, right?
So it's in direct line of sight, yeah.
Yep. And that's the mosque right there, chat.
into where the temple stood. The land I'm standing on, bought 12 years ago, fits both of those standards.
It's had to be exactly at the front of place that the priest that made this.
Yeah, that's that Israeli accent right there.
Am I not accurate? Come on.
Yeah, that's exactly how these niggas
at
say.
this place. It's like every other word just got a ch in it.
The holy of the holy place.
Rabbi Yitzhak Mamo owns the land here on the Mount of Olives.
And we hope that in a year and a half from today, we can make here in this area the ceremony of the red heifer. That actually will be the first step to the temple.
Mamo says the ceremony needs priests who have not been
before that happens, or when that happens, and the Muslims, the Palestinians who live there, get wind of it, and whatever separate faction groups get wind of it, Hamas, if they still have a strong presence or existence, they will try and stop that. I can bet your ass. You can bet your ass they will try and stop that, because that is eschatologically valid from an Islamic perspective. That like the whole red heifer, the third temple, Masjid al-Aqsa's destruction, the Antichrist, like we believe that. So expect some sort of local backlash from Muslims or whatever to try and prevent that from happening, you know. But like I said, it's just kind of when, not if.
JCX says, Myron Gaines, thoughts on doing OME TV or Monkey App debates versus Israel? Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't like that shit because you never know what you'll get on those Monkey Apps, bro. Riyadh says, Riyadh, thoughts on Jays considering themselves impure because of losing the connection to God? Wouldn't that invalidate the sacrifice since the rabbi is doing it need to be pure?
Yeah, but that's why that rabbi would. What makes a Jew ritualistically impure for the red heifer sacrifice is them coming in contact with death, not being secluded. So they already have designated rabbis or high-ranking priests who would, you know, as they explained in the video and the guy explained on the Timcast podcast, would be set for such a sacrifice. So they already have that in line. They've got their ducks in a row. You know, they're all in order.
Stunt says, I haven't been able to support as much as been busy grinding. What's up, Riyadh? Thank you very much for that, Stunt 1001. If you guys want to support my brother, the best way to support him right now is he's actually live on YouTube. You guys just type in right here, Riyadh. It's going to come right up probably.
Desert Joe, thank you for the 5 gifted. Thank you so much, man. You've been showing a lot of love.
Stunt says,
for you.
Here's his channel right here. Just give it a like. He's got 1,100 watching, man. So this is very good, bro, for obviously a brand new channel, 13.3K.
Thank you, guys.
So smash
I appreciate it, man.
I'll drop the link in here. Do me a favor, guys. If you guys really want to rock with us, open up both channels. Open up Kick, with kick.com/MyronGainesX, and obviously YouTube for Riyadh. And open up a tab for both, and we'd really appreciate it. Like his shit. Support on there. If you're watching on Rumble, I dropped the link. Go subscribe to his channel. So show him some love. And then where were we here? So yeah, this is his channel. It's called Riyadh's Report. As you guys hear, I dropped the link in the chat for you guys. And then what else? There was something else I wanted. Oh, there's someone else read a chat. He goes, been pretty funny. If Iran kills the heifers and fucks up Israel's plan or pushes it back for years, do you think that's a good strategy or a middle finger? That's a religious question. What do you think about that?
What was the question? Sorry, I was reading chat.
He said, if Iran kills the heifers and fucks up Israel's plan or pushes it back for years, what would happen?
Potentiality. There's a potential reality in that, but I don't think that, again, religiously, no one is going to get in the way of like that ceremony. Eventually, it will happen. But again, we saw October 7th. Hamas attempted to delay it. Maybe they were successful in that. We don't know Israel's motive. It was obviously preemptive, but we may see something like that surface in the next few weeks where Iran aims to try and slow that plan down. I mean, Israel being militarily occupied in a war does slow that plan down. When they're going to commence such a ceremony, their country has to be guaranteed safety. You know, they can't risk their airspace being at risk for some sort of ballistic missile, because that shit will go straight for the Mount of Olives and destroy that spot that's dedicated for the ritual. So they may try, but it's a fleeting, not a fleeting gain, but it's inevitable. It's going to happen at some point.
I got a retard here again, because Era says jizya wasn't tolerance, it was extortion. It also involved preventing them from having any position of power. Generally today, that they hardly allow Christians to practice freely and have restrictions. Because you see, here's why you're stupid, bro. Let me tell you why you're stupid.
Aaron Angus sends $10. So hyssop is a herb used in medicine to clean sickness. Actually, in the Old Testament, King David spoke about it in Psalm 51 in sense of cleaning him from the insides from his impurity after sin. Oh, okay, so you're talking about the bag that guy brought up that we didn't know what it. Okay, thank you so much for that. Good point. Thanks for that. I didn't even know that. But that makes sense now. It's a part of the ritual or verification process, or the purification process, rather. Ken Rose, $2. Thank you so much. Desert Joe, another 5 gifted. Thank you so much, man. Huge support from you. God bless. Core Madut, $2. Thank you. And then Core Madut says again, $5. Catholics and Orthodox don't believe that. In the New Testament, the true Israel is understood to be Christians, not ethnic Jews. Yeah, maybe you came a little bit late. I said this earlier. I said that the kingdom went from physical to spiritual, and that's noted in the New Testament. You see that in Matthew. John, Christ says, no longer is the belief or the, sanctity of salvation confined to Jerusalem. It's for all of the people, and that's believing that Christ was crucified for the sins of mankind. So yeah, I said that the chosen people from, a Christian perspective has now expanded to anybody who, takes on that belief. Go ahead and keep going.
This dumbass says, so I respond to Myron. Here's how you respond, bro. Enjoy the Shadow Realm. Stupid fuck. Get the fuck out of here, bro. I hate idiots, man. Enjoy the shadow realm, nigga. Talk to yourself over there.
By touching anything dead.
The Temple Institute actually have 9 pure priests, and they are pure, and they are waiting. So we have the priest, we have the red heifer, we have the land, and we have everything ready. We just need to wait another 1.5 years.
The Temple Institute is so serious about these preparations that they have already used diamond cutting tools to form the massive stones that will be used for construction of the new temple. As per Jewish creed, the stones cannot be carved with metal tools. And they have even prepared the ornaments that will be placed inside the temple once it's rebuilt. And there are many other specific requirements for the temple's construction.
Enjoy Toon World, nigga.
That have been undertaken. Okay, so now you should understand why Abu Ubaidah made it a point to mention the arrival of the red heifers to you. And
and isn't it interesting that like American media completely left this out? Like they like I didn't see nobody on Western media acknowledge this at all.
They just glossed right over it, and the reason is because this is not useful. This is not at all a potential weaponization of furthering the Israeli propaganda. Like, this would actually set Americans back and make them go, wait, what are we supporting? What state are we supporting in the Middle East? And what is their goal? They want to destroy this Islamic holy site. Okay, we don't care, but wait, why? They want to bring about their Messiah? Wait, the Messiah already came. If this controversy and this prophecy that the Jews are so desperately trying to fulfill went mainstream with the masses in the United States, it would immediately be met with backlash from several people who would quite literally just find the disconnect from their religion and Judaism, because we know the lie that's sold from the big media machines like Fox News and others is that, you know, the Christians and Jews are of one. You know, you got to bless Israel, this whole thing from Genesis, that whole thing. That this red heifer sacrifice destroys it, puts it to bed, because it's obvious there is a disconnect from the Jewish people where they want to increase the furtherment of their people, and that excludes Christians. And so a lot of Christians are super, super ignorant to this. You said this earlier. Arabs know this. The Muslim Arabs of the Middle East and North Africa, they're well aware on this stuff, and they're well read. Arab Muslims are actually so well read on all of this. And of course, it's because they're subject to this bullshit. They live in the region. So, you know, it's something that the American masses have a big gap on, and that needs to be filled. That needs to be filled.
And it's because of massive censorship.
Yeah,
it may seem like a superstitious ritual with no bearing on the situation, but as I have already laid out, it is the first major step in a series of steps that will facilitate the destruction of the Al-Aqsa compound. And this is what would trigger a catastrophic showdown between civilizations.
And that is why they're waiting until they control the region to do this ceremony.
Exactly.
Once the heifer is sacrificed, it will be burned and its ashes will be mixed with water, which will be used to purify the Jews of Israel, who will then be allowed to construct the temple with the ornaments and construction materials already prepared in accordance with Jewish law. This process will be rather quick. Another thing to keep in mind is the archaeological excavation that has been taking place underneath the Al-Aqsa compound. The Israelis claim it's for archaeological purposes, but they have never allowed Palestinians to participate or even observe this process. Many believe that this excavation is part of a dangerous agenda to weaken the foundations of the Al-Aqsa Mosque and bring about its collapse. There are reports of growing cracks in the foundation walls and ceilings of the mosque itself. Any attempt to repair them has been ignored and rejected by the Israeli government.
Yo, the chat is getting red-pilled, bro. A lot of these guys didn't know this shit.
Yeah, bro.
In 2023, these excavations reached their most...
You're welcome, niggas. I mean, you guys voted for this, so we're showing you guys. But yeah, dude, this is a big reason why October 7th happened, bro. They don't want y'all to know this.
Very briefly, we spoke to Sneeko about this, and we were talking about, oh, it's not a holy war. There's spiritual elements. Look, he has the right sentiment. He's on the right track. There is a very large spiritual element to this. It just has not fully materialized yet. That's why right now it's more so political. What's the political side for Israel to gain hegemony over the region? Not because it's all promised to them. Yeah, I suppose that's a part of it. It's really so they can initiate this ritual. And then when this ritual is initiated, then will come forth the missing piece to actually ground their authoritative power over the entire world, that being the Antichrist.
Absolutely.
extreme point, with unprecedented levels of digging taking place underneath the compound. And in May of 2023, just a year ago, Netanyahu's cabinet held a meeting underneath Al-Aqsa. If you still aren't convinced of the intent of the Temple Institute to destroy the mosque, just take a look at this purpose statement on their website. In it, they detail that the Temple Mount rightfully belongs to the Jews, that the Palestinians are the modern people of Amalek, a tribe which the Jews...
Bruh. And just so you guys know, when Benjamin Netanyahu, what he gives to you guys in English versus what he gives to the Israelis in Hebrew is completely different. He refers to the Iranians as Amalek. Yes. Okay? And do you want to describe to them what... well, I think he's going to talk about Amalek here.
Yeah, they're an ancient people in the Old Testament that God had commanded the Hebrew Israelites to kill. Genocide. Full stop. No mercy. Kill the people. Kill the men, women, children, fighting age, non-fighting age, even, I think, the animals. So Amalek is like this covert term for genocide. Like, people of Palestine is Amalek. The Iranians, it's going to be Amalek. He said this with Gaza, actually, which is how we know he wants to annex the Gaza and the West Bank. He says it will be Amalek. So he doesn't hide it in his words. They're super honest about this stuff. It's not
It's just mostly when he does it in Hebrew, though.
Whatsoever. Yeah, he said it in
he
English
doesn't
before.
do it so much he kind of... He says it in English, but he's not as overt about it as he is in Hebrew. Yeah. Like Benjamin Netanyahu in Hebrew is way different than Benjamin Netanyahu in English.
Yeah.
Destroyed thousands of years ago. This is pretty fucking crazy, right? This isn't just the mission of some NGO operating in Israel. It's an entire movement picking up steam that is pervasive in
niggas are getting red pilled in the chat. They're like, what the fuck is going on?
Israeli society. The Temple Institute has given custom-made battle horns used during the war with the Amaleks to the IDF so that they can blow them in the Gaza Strip. And soldiers can be seen erecting signs, flags, and graffiti on homes in the Gaza Strip, announcing the coming of the temple and the destruction of the mosque. The writing is literally on the wall.
Most Christians, I think, don't think about the third temple, but those who do believe that it will be built before Jesus returns and that the Antichrist will take over that third temple during the tribulation and try to rule the world from there. Could it happen in our lifetime? That to me is intriguing. I think we don't know, but there are some Jews who are really making, as you're reporting on, preparations to get ready for that moment, and that's something to watch closely.
To many, this isn't just a war between a rebel group and an occupier. It's a war of conquest by religious zealots in the same vein as the Crusaders and ISIS. And it's all coming to a head. Hamas felt so strongly about this provocation that they cited it as a motive for October 7th.
And another reason too why no one, you have to blur his voice and blur his face when he did all the announcements. That's another reason too why you guys didn't know a lot about October 7th, because he's very censored. I don't even know if you could play Abu Ubaidah shit on YouTube. I don't know if you can.
It will probably get limited right away. If not,
yeah, it'll get 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Even if you play it for like news purposes, they'd probably still limit you.
Yeah.
Because he goes really hard into the he talks about the like eschatology and you know like he goes into the theological stuff.
It's so real for Muslims because specifically in Islam, Jesus Christ is supposed to kill the Antichrist. That is Islamic eschatology. This is in authentic narrations from the Prophet where when the Antichrist comes, he will rule the earth. He will roam the whole earth. He will turn people to his way. He will claim to be God. He will have these miraculous powers, and then Jesus Christ will come down, I believe in modern day Syria, in a minaret, at a minaret in somewhere modern day Syria, either modern day Syria or Israel, and he will kill the Antichrist, you know. So, and there's more details in the story, obviously, but this is why Hamas and this guy Ubaidah, the spokesperson, as well as others, were very motivated to interrupt this process because it's perfectly in tandem with Islamic eschatology. It fits like a glove.
تطبيقا لخرافة دينية مقيتة مصممة للعدوان على مشاعر أمة كاملة.
Okay, yeah, someone in the chat saying Syria. Yeah, modern day Syria. Modern day Syria. Keep going.
Pay attention to the plight of the Palestinian people. It was a warning to the entire Muslim world that one of their holiest sites is under threat of destruction because they see the writing on the wall. They see the calls from organizations like the Temple Institute and the people who fund them. They see the policies being enacted by the violent and religiously extremist Israeli government, working hand in hand with evangelical Christian extremists. They see the indoctrination of...
So now you guys understand. Let's get into the war. We did a lot of, now you guys are going to be a lot more based on the religious stuff on it. I try to stay away from it, but it does have its place because that is, I would say, like the hidden reason why October 7th happened that no one ever talks about. And they'll talk about Abraham Accords, they'll talk about the occupation of Palestinians, whatever, but they never talk about the red cows.
And look, as time progresses, it will actually materialize. Like people will come to realize, oh wow, there really is a very large spiritual element. This is a holy war that has not happened yet because of the lack of information that comes from mainstream media in the United States and people's ignorance to eschatology, especially from Judaism's perspective. Why? Because Judaism is actually a pretty hard religion to study. They kind of gatekeep the religion. It's not as accessible. If you want to learn something about Islam, it's very easy. If you want to learn something about Christianity, it's very easy. With Judaism, there's actually kind of like a barrier. It's not super easy. So that will come to light as time progresses for sure. But right now, it's kind of under the radar. Here, let me just catch up on these chats really quick, bro. Ken Rose, thank you so much. I already read that. IMZ says, hey, Riyadh and Myron, I would love to help contribute and also help get some interesting guests on. How do I get in touch? I reached out on IG. I don't think you saw my DM though. Just send it again. I'll check again, bro. I have a bunch, so that's why I probably haven't saw it. Sam Rains, 3740. Thank you so much for the $20 and the sticker. Nice. Luke Quay says, G-Day, mate. Good day, mate. Good day, mate. Awesome to hear you speak and the bro team up. Makes me really appreciate my brother. You lads are an inspiration. Cheers, cunts. Hey, cheers to you, brother. God bless you. Thanks so much, man. Marcus Celerius, 180 AD, says, Adam King's claim was debunked by the Temple Institute. All of the heifers they imported so far were blemished and they burnt offering / ashes. Invalid. I saw that, but I don't know if... I think
they're probably doing that to take away attention, bro.
I think there's a big benefit.
You wouldn't have spent 500K, bro.
Yeah,
yes, there's dude.
Those
nigga, they would have spent
$500,000. Go ahead.
They wouldn't have spent $500,000 to buy those cows and bring them over if they weren't perfect. What they're doing is they're lying so that they can keep the Muslim world from going crazy, bro. Because this cow shit is like the Middle East. For us, we don't give a shit in America. We're like, what, red cows? Who gives a shit? But in the Muslim world, this is a big problem, bro.
Yeah,
and the Christians in the Middle East are like, what the fuck?
It lines up with our eschatology perfectly. So it's a big benefit for Israel to lie and say, oh, you know what? Actually, these heifers didn't work. We didn't kill one. But I am of the belief that they killed one already and there's more to come. So I think they're maybe a little bit less than a quarter of the way to their final goal. And it's going to happen. You know, it's just going to happen. Al-Aqsa, I predict, this isn't predicted Islamically, but the way the wind is blowing, Al-Aqsa will probably be destroyed. Unfortunately, it pains me to say that, but that's an unfortunate and grim reality.
What do you think will happen if it's destroyed?
That's when the holy war starts. That's when the holy war starts. Like what Sneeko was talking about, that's when we'll see all of these Islamic prophetic statements actually come to life that the Prophet had predicted. Once the Al-Aqsa Masjid is destroyed, or it's clear that the motive is to destroy it, and they make some headway in doing such an action, like destroying it by hollowing out the underground, destroying the foundation. By the way, the Palestinians have been petitioning to strengthen the Al-Aqsa Mosque and fix the foundation and the infrastructure of Dome of the Rock, and it's been denied by the Israeli government every single time. They've been trying desperately to fix it. And so, again, look, the writing is on the wall. It's obvious, but once it becomes public information, I'm talking all the way from, Uzbekistan, Indonesia to Morocco, that the heifers are here, that Al-Aqsa is destroyed, there will be a large-scale Muslim versus Jewish and potentially allied evangelical Christian war. I think that's to come. That's why I don't say it's a holy war yet. It's a war with a lot of spiritual elements and undertones, but we have not entered the Armageddon phase just yet. I think it's still a little premature to say that. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into transition real quick into more current events. So war in Iran, March 15, day 16 recap. So number one, Iran and Hezbollah launched joint attacks on Israel throughout the day. The U.S. and Israel continue strikes on western Iran and parts of Tehran. Iran directly struck Isa Air Base in Bahrain. That was, I think, last night, right? We were live when that happened.
I reported that last night while we were live. That literally happened as we were going into the news.
Yeah. India's Hindalco Industries halted output of extruded aluminum a value-added aluminum product due to gas shortage following supply disruptions in the Middle East, according to a company notice seen by Reuters and 2 sources. Okay, here we go. Now the supply chains are starting to slow down. Secretary of Iran's National Security Council, Ali Larijani, claims American officials plan to create an event similar to 9/11 attacks and blame it on Iran. Interesting.
Yeah.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has requested a phone call with Ukrainian President Zelensky to discuss acquiring Ukrainian interceptors. The call will take place next week, Ynet reports. All loading and exports, and just so you guys know, Zelensky is Jewish, FYI. This comes, I think, from Iraq. All loading and export operations from the oil ports of Basra, southern Iraq, have been halted. Al Jazeera reports citing an official from Iraq's oil sector. A massive fire broke out Victoria base in Baghdad, Iraq, after rockets struck the camp. Multiple people were injured. A U.S. military logistical facility was directly struck multiple times throughout the day. Chinese satellite imagery indicates that the USS Abraham Lincoln has moved away from the Iran's coast and is now operating near Salah, Oman, behind the coastal mountain range. The carrier is now more than 1,100 kilometers from Iran, after previously being observed about 350 kilometers from the Iranian coast. The USSR Gerald R. Ford has also repositioned, moving further south in the Red Sea and operating off the coast of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. What does this mean, bro? Because there was talks about the carriers were struck. Obviously, the United States government denied it. The Iranian government said that they
the satellite
them.
imagery showed that they did pull back, which shows that Iran did actually impose a threat to those carriers. I think that's what you're talking about. I saw that earlier while I was at the gym, and that I was actually going to talk about that and then segue into Kharg Island. It seems like Trump is trying to like do this diversion where we attack this island that currently is just not going to be a significant player in the war in weakening Iran's military capabilities, but he's trying to make it seem that way. But yeah, no, we did pull back. There is some, like, again, I'm more than positive, and I'm of the opinion they are rapidly building missiles too, because they're shooting and sending off these missiles as if there's just an unlimited supply. It's like everybody's getting it. They're attacking insignificant U.S. assets just to misalign Gulf countries from the United States, which to me sends the message that Iran has a plethora of supply and military missile capability for the next few months. For hundreds of days, I think they have missiles ready to go. And that is very disheartening if you're Israel or the United States, because you were anticipating at this point, 16 days in, they would run out, but they very well haven't. And you want to know who's actually running low on military equipment? Israel. Their interceptors are at a record low. So that's a symbolic defeat. That's a symbolic defeat. You know, that's like a micro defeat symbolically for the United States that the Gerald R. Ford had to reposition because of Iranian missiles. Because what did we say several times? By the way, remember, Iran had met with China prior to the conflict, and China supplied them, I believe it was CM-302 missiles that have the capability of hitting these naval carriers, but not destroying or sinking them, rather just nullifying their military offensive capability. So that might be those missiles, the CM-302s or the YJ. Is that what it is? YJ-12s?
Hold on. It's hold on. I think it's similar to that. But here's the deal. Yeah, CM-302 missiles.
Yeah, here it is. Reuters.
This comes from Reuters. Iran-Near's deal, and this was from on February 24th. So who knows if they have them now or not?
That could
be the deal a few days.
That could be what they're using. You know, that it's all speculative, of course, but one would be led to believe, you know, they're actually imposing a threat on U.S. naval carriers, something that they were never able to do before. One must think maybe they're using these Chinese-made missiles to screw these boats up.
Yeah, let me look here. If you guys want to get a quick look at these missiles, they're very, here's a short on it, looks like.
To acquire CM-302 supersonic anti-ship cruise missiles, capable of striking naval vessels up to 290 kilometers away while flying low and fast to evade defenses. Talks reportedly began over 2 years ago and accelerated following last year's 12-day Israel-Iran conflict, with senior Iranian officials, including the deputy defense minister, visiting China as negotiations advanced. If completed, this would mark one of the most advanced Chinese weapons transfers to Iran in decades, although no official confirmation or delivery timeline has been announced.
And obviously that's going to be fucking classified, right? You're not going to know that, but they might have them now, and them repositioning like that tells me that they know something that we don't, right? And they were bragging, saying, "Oh yeah, you know, we're going to stay where we're at. We don't got to worry." So one of two things happened: either A, the Iranians have some kind of capability that has the United States worried, so that to reposition, or B, they actually were struck like the Iranian government claimed, and they had to reposition because of that. We don't know, because we do know that both parties are lying. The Iranians are obviously pushing out a bunch of propaganda, and so is the United States. United States is 100% withholding casualties and damages for obvious reasons. That's why Trump wants to impose like censorship and all this other shit. PDX said this, losing his mind at press conferences. I think he had a press conference today. Didn't he have a meltdown today? I'll double check and look.
I did not see. No, he probably
I'll double
did,
check.
but
Let's see here. Okay, so we got the Israel and Lebanon will hold talks in the coming days, according to Reuters, citing two Israeli officials. To keep the Strait of Hormuz open, the Arab Gulf countries in the region will have to join the fight against Iran. The countries that receive the oil are the ones that must participate, President Trump said. Yeah, okay, bro. The U.S. is set to announce a coalition of multiple countries that will escort commercial ships through the Strait of Hormuz, the Wall Street Journal reports. I don't know about that, if it's gonna go through. Some of these countries already kind of like said, look, bro, we don't want to get involved in this conflict. President Trump claims Iran is using AI to create videos of kamikaze boats striking tankers and other ships, and he also accused the U.S. media of treason, of course.
So bad.
A drone struck a fuel depot.
Hey, that's about the FCC thing yesterday. He's trying to attack the media because they're reporting that this war is asymmetrical.
Yep. A drone struck a fuel depot at Dubai International Airport, causing a huge fire. Authorities are working on to contain it, according to Dubai's media office. Australia will not send naval ships to assist in reopening the Strait of Hormuz, the government minister said on Monday.
Big surprise.
There's currently... Yeah, like, bro, this nigga's retarded. Like, look, there's currently no plan to deploy the Japanese Navy to the Middle East or vessel for escort duties, Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takachi said. President Trump is considering seizing Iran's Kharg Island, which would require boots on the ground if tankers continue to be bottled up in the Persian Gulf, according to Axios. That would be a death sentence for our Marines.
Exactly. I wanted to talk about that. Kharg Island has been the new hot topic for Trump to divert the masses from in regards to our poor military campaign, in terms of the fact that, yeah, we do have air superiority.
Iran is reportedly close to...
It's not actually penetrating their missile capabilities that's currently destroying Israel and these Gulf countries' military U.S.-based assets. But Trump is trying to aim the attention at Kharg Island. Interestingly enough, in the 80s, Saddam Hussein tried it with Kharg Island, and he learned really quickly it doesn't work. They're a militarily fortified place, or that island is militarily fortified. They learned from Saddam's attempted invasion and attack in the 80s that they must build that island up, as it's obviously opportunistic, being it has a ton of oil and other resources. So a ground invasion there would not only prove to be pretty much useless, because at the end of the day, Iran has been exporting tons of oil still as we speak to China, probably moving a lot of where they're exporting that from off of the island for an anticipated attack, but as well as the fact that they've fortified that island after Saddam's attack to prepare precisely for a U.S. ground invasion or U.S. airstrikes. So again, it's a situation where Iran is a step ahead of the United States. They know an invasion or an attack on that island could be imminent, and you bet your ass they're prepared for it. I'm not saying they're going to win. They're going to have control of the island after we invade. But what I'm saying, it's going to come with a lot of casualties and a lot of money spent on bombs, jets, maybe even B-2s will enter the situation. It'll be a catastrophe for the United States. Again, another prime example of asymmetrical warfare. So that island is not a good place we need to get involved in. But I can guarantee you Trump is trying to push some sort of positive narrative in the headlines that we destroyed their oil exporting capabilities, and as if that plays any role into the current situation. We have to stop the missiles. Really quick before you play this, Myron, let me just get these chats. I don't want these to collect dust. I think I only have one. Big Tone, do I have one? Big Tone says, "What's up, Riyadh? Longtime supporter of Myron. Are you familiar with the lore of the Ark of the Covenant? Could it be under Al-Aqsa, the golden chest with the staff?" No, I don't think so. It could be anywhere. They don't know where it is, but even then, I don't think that that's necessary for the fulfillment of the Messiah. So it's a non sequitur. I don't think they care to have it. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure in Jewish tradition, the golden chest, I know it symbolizes like it has the scrolls, it has the staff and something else, I forget. And the Jews obviously revere it as a sacred item, but in regards to its relevance with the red heifer and the coming of the Antichrist or their Messiah, I don't think it plays a critical role. They don't need it. Go ahead, bro. And let me just
go ahead.
Run it. Yeah, use the bathroom really quick.
All right, yeah, go ahead. I'll read some chats here. Okay. Australia, they are now arresting the left from river to the sea. A right-wing bloke just got a year for saying J supremacy is Australia's biggest threat. Yep, not surprised. Let's see here. I'm going through my chats right now, guys. Yeah. Okay. We got a couple idiots in here that just get ignored. It's amazing how like I have these idiots that make like accounts to troll. It's like you guys are pathetic. Okay. What are the different benefits to getting a badge or OG badge? Side notes, thanks to you and MM episodes, I've saved the most money I ever saved in my life. Well, here's the thing. If you're a member of OSS and you contribute, if you're in OSS, one chest is going to basically give you, tell me to put you on the put you in Kick, and then if you're watching on Kick, you know what I mean, you get the VIP badge there. But if you're in OSS 300, you get an OG badge. So OSS 300 guys got an OG badge. Let me see here. Let me just make sure I don't miss any of these chats, guys. Sorry, I'm going through them right now. Rumble Studio has like a glitch where if I click a certain button, I lose all my locals chats. Okay, Void TV says, my girl with the 25 bodies I told you about yesterday keeps bringing you up out of nowhere and keeps trying to get me to watch documentaries so she can laugh at you in front of me. She said I'm the best guy she ever had, but the most unattractive part of me is that I listen to Red Pill. I said, if you have a problem with it, you can go back to Miami. She said, okay. She with me right now, but I'm about to ditch her ass right now. How can I do it in the cleanest way possible without her lashing out? Just leave, bro. Don't be a bitch ass nigga. Like, just leave, bro. Like, just use her sex only. I'm telling you, that girl's problematic, dude. Never wife up girls that, you know, have that sexual trauma. I will say as a Bulgarian and being a Christian Orthodox, we have a negative bias towards Jays and align close to Muslims. Yeah, way closer. MG, you still have spots in the 300? Yeah, I think we got some. Hey, Myron, I'm a Catholic and most of my family is Shia. I really appreciate the deep discussions you have with your brothers on religion. Thank you for everything you do. Got you, bro. Yeah, that's his stuff. Myron, we ever going to see Andrew and Riyadh debate? I don't know what the hell they would debate. Guys, religion debates are retarded. Thanks for explaining the history between the two religions. Why did the Crusades happen during the Middle Age? Was there respect between Islam and Christianity? That's a good question. I have an idea, but I'm not 100% robust on that, so I'll research that and make sure I come back to you because I don't like talking out of my ass. Red Bro Myron, look at this channel, please. It'll give some knowledge, even if it's on your free time. We'd probably way past that topic, dude. Okay, let's see here. Okay, we got here. We'll be in California April 7th. I read that one. I kind of Mr. Moses for never protected them. Okay, totally off topic. Are you going to do Overwatch? Nope, read that. Okay. All right, let me scroll down to the bottom. Realest niggas on the internet from N-word. Appreciate you. Let's see here. What else we got? Sorry, guys. I have to go through the chat manually. I got to get this fixed on Rumble Studio. Okay, all the J priests had to be Levites, but the Romans killed all Levites after the J revolt, and only they could do sacrifices. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, talking about Amalek refers to the Persian people of Haman who are the enemies of the Jays. Okay, fair. Let's see here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and talk about this Kharg Island. This is from an interview. Here's Scott Ritter, as you guys know, former Marine. This red heifer shit is demonic and scary. Yeah, I hope you guys are learning. You guys enjoy it. Do you guys see if it is possible for them boys to even try and make a play to reclaim the items from the Vatican? No, they're not gonna. They won't. The Vatican isn't that like one of the most secure areas in the world, bro? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Just more context. The tax the Muslim required to pay is 2.5% of your income. I always have to say, I have to set that amount of my income aside when Ramadan comes around. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and play this clip here.
Did a Christian just say that?
Yeah, they was just trolling. Let's go ahead and go into the Scott Ritter stuff. And guys, if I missed your chat, I apologize. Like, Rumble Studio doesn't let me pull all the locals chats. But here we got Scott Ritter here. Okay, with on I forget the name of this channel. Danny Haifong. Yeah, there you go. So Scott Ritter is a former Marine, as you guys know, weapons inspector. So if there's anyone that's going to know about this unit pretty well, it's going to be him. So I'm going to play this real quick. Riyadh, have you seen this?
No, I have not. No, I have not.
You haven't? Okay, let's react to it. He's going to talk about the Kharg Island bullshit. So here we go.
The war going for the United States and for all the aggressor parties right now.
Hey guys, do me a favor, like my brother's video. Sub to the follow me on Kick. If you guys are watching, you guys enjoy this deep geopolitical analysis reaction. We cover all kinds of stuff here. Make sure to Follow the channel on Kick. I know a lot of you guys are watching probably your first time here. #1 political/cultural commentary channel by far on Kick. So make sure to like it. Okay, we don't do this stupid ass goy slop retard shit that a lot of these critters have on Kick. So make sure to follow the channel. A lot of you guys are new here. So let's get into it. Former Marine Scott Ritter, and I'm going to get him on the show here soon, guys. I just got to coordinate a time with him.
Given this escalation, and maybe you can talk about what this escalation really means.
Well, I mean, first of all, a Marine Expeditionary Unit is basically a reinforced battalion. So you have a battalion of Marines.
And if you need me to pause, Riyadh, just let me know.
That have different other attachments put on to give them greater capability, intelligence-wise, logistics-wise. They're relatively self-sustaining for a limited period of time. They have an air component, so you have helicopters and fixed wing strike artillery. They used to have tanks, but we don't have tanks anymore. But it's 2,500 Marines that are capable of, conducting expeditionary operations ashore. And in theory, the Marine
guys, the reason why
units traditionally will
guys, the reason why I don't put the video as the large screen is because my clipper is yelling at me that he can't make clips because me and Myron are too small. Because look, we're too small. So I'm doing this for the clips. I'm sorry. Okay.
So, I don't know which Mew has been given the warning order, and I don't know where they're coming from. Are they already deployed? Are they, are they training off the coast of Australia, or are they currently in the United States or Okinawa or wherever the Mew would be generated from, and need to embark and travel? But their forte is assault from the sea, and they tend to operate off of amphibious assault ships. Where you put several hundred Marines on a single ship, and then they either go from ship to shore using LCACs or landing craft, or they go ship to shore using helicopters. When General Berger, former commandant of the Marine Corps, became the commandant a couple years ago, he did a review of the national security strategy and the national defense strategy, and he's supposed to write commandant's guidance. And what he said is that he cannot, in good faith, say that the Marine Corps is capable of implementing the tasks that they've been given by the National Command Authority. And one of the reasons was that we are married to a legacy amphibious assault concept that dates back to, General Lejeune, the man who invented amphibious warfare in the Second World War, where we perfected the art.
Yeah, people forget that Marines are a part of the Navy, chat. They are a part of the Navy.
He said that modern munitions and such, area denial weapons, make it impractical, because if we close in on a hostile shore in amphibious assault shipping, and they hit one of our ships with a missile, we lost 900 Marines. And that's it. That's the end of the game. We haven't changed our legacy. He tried to, in the Pacific, he tried to come up with a new regimental structure that used smaller ships carrying up to 75 Marines to make it harder to stop the entire assault by sinking one ship. We were looking at long-range strike weapons, etc. It'd be interesting to see that system, by the way, has been declared to be a failure. I don't know if they've disbanded those units, but basically this new structure was supposed to be confronting the Chinese in the South Chinese Sea. And I think the Marine Corps has determined that this has not been a success. I don't know if we still have units configured that, because actually those units would be very more realistically employable in a Strait of Hormuz situation than bringing in a standard amphibious ready group. I just think this is fantasy and pie in the sky, though, because a Mew has specific limitations. It can't sustain itself forever. It has limited combat power. And let's say that you engage it. How do you reinforce it? Okay, so you put them in, and they get engaged. Let's say you want to take Kharg Island. So we achieved the beachhead. It's just a battalion. It's not more than a battalion. There's only so much a battalion can do. So.
And the other thing also is that, guys, the IRGC is huge. And that's just one component of their military. Altogether, if I'm not mistaken, the Iranian military altogether is 1 million. And if you guys don't believe me, look.
Yeah.
Total number of Iranian military. Soldiers. So boom. Together, regular armed forces, the Artesh, and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps are made up of approximately 610,000 active duty personnel plus 350,000 reserve.
Yeah.
So we're talking about almost 1 million people, man.
This is a country of 90 million people, man. They're going to have a lot of bodies to evenly disperse on the ground if need be.
Like, what the fuck?
Let me just tackle these. I just got a couple chats to tackle really quick. Sorry. David says Bahrain is the only GCC state with Shia majority. The last serious unrest was contained by Saudi Arabia intervention. With Saudi Arabia stretched across regional crisis is a similar challenge to the monarchy, harder to contain today. Yes, if that happened again, they would have a much harder time taking control. I think they still could, but it would prove much more difficult for them. That would be an issue. That's a good point, actually. I don't get notifications. When was the last time that happened? That was in 2011, right? If I'm not mistaken. When
2011 what?
No, when the Shias caused the issue in Bahrain. I think it was 2011. Anyways, Peter did come down. I don't get notifications when you go live. How do I fix? Unclick the bell and click it again.
The bell. Yeah,
unclick the bell and click it again. Sometimes that fixes it. David, also loving the content. Riyadh, keep it up. Hey, God bless you, man. Thank you so much, bro. I'm loving doing it. Me and Myron are cooking. Go ahead, bro. Sorry.
He's across. Now you've secured the beachhead, but where's your follow-on assault forces? You've got to take it from the troops you have, so you got to thin out this and assault forward. What if the enemy puts up concerted resistance? What if they counterattack? Is there reinforcements that come in? Do we have a second MEU coming in? So now we're talking about a brigade, not a battalion. This is insanity. The size of Kharg Island, it took us divisions during World War II to take those islands. So this isn't going to be Grenada, where a Marine Expeditionary Unit, or at that time I think it was called a MAU, a Marine Amphibious Unit, was able to run around and rescue students and kill Cubans and
I mean, it's like at this point, have they not learned? Like you've grossly underestimated the capabilities of the Iranian government and the military. It's like, what, you're going to send in, a group of 2,500 Marines in there? Like what?
Yeah.
Like,
and
what the
again,
fuck?
like I said, they've fortified it very hard because it's been attacked before. They understand it's critical infrastructure for oil export. I think 90% of the oil export goes through or comes from the seaport of Kharg Island. Yeah, and so again, they're going to defend it with their goddamn life. And you best bet if we do make a dent, there will be reinforcements, which they have plenty of reserves to grab from, as we just displayed to you guys. Just for you guys to know, let me pull up this map really quick, just so they can see where Kharg Island actually is, located off the coast of Iran, inside of the Persian Gulf. It's a lot closer than it is to Kuwait. Here, let me pull my screen up really quickly. So this is Kharg Island, guys. So you should be able to see that on a map.
I got a big on my side.
Okay, perfect. So this is Kharg Island. This is obviously Iran. Okay. By the way, Iran is gargantuous. It's huge. Okay, 4 times the size of Iraq. But this is Kharg Island, very tiny island just off of the coast, and it is responsible for a lot of critical oil infrastructure. Here, actually, I'll just show you better than I can tell you. Come right here. Okay. It says it over here. The island is 25 kilometers off the coast of Iran, and it is administered by adjacent coastal Bushehr province. Kharg Island, it belongs to Iran. Kharg Island provides a seaport for the export of up to 90% of Iran's oil products, as well as supply storage for up to 30 million barrels. And really quickly, this article by CBS highlights why I say it's a bad idea. Iran has been threatening the world's energy markets by keeping the Strait of Hormuz closed to most traffic, but the strikes on Kharg Island show the U.S. can affect Iran. That's why Trump has been weaponizing it. But again, it's been a target before. This isn't the first time Kharg Island has been the center of a war. During the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s, Saddam Hussein sent Iraqi aircraft to repeatedly bomb the island in an attempt to choke off Iran's oil revenue. The facilities were badly damaged, but Iran kept repairing them and exports continued, which goes to show ever since this attack, they've learned, they've gotten the chance to do their homework. They've fortified their defenses and ensured that if there was an attack again, there's some sort of cushion before it actually does any sort of damage to the infrastructure, as well as the fact that you best bet there is armed guards on ground and some sort of missile defense systems they probably have set up there to anticipate an attack from the United States or Israel. So It says right here, Iran's response would not defeat a superior military force head on, but would make operating in the Gulf a painful and expensive experience. It would be difficult. So it's, again, this is another highlight to how asymmetrical it is. Again, Tehran has fortified Kharg heavily, building air defenses, hardened infrastructure, and underground storage designed to keep oil flowing even under sustained attack. So not only would it pretty much be a long-winded mini battle within a big war, but it would probably prove or render useless because we wouldn't be able to actually stop the export unless we went balls deep. And if we did that, you best bet the casualties are going to skyrocket.
You know, it's funny, like Trump tried to say like, oh yeah, I didn't, he tried to like say, oh yeah, I didn't destroy their infrastructure. Bro, you couldn't destroy the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Like, I love how we like, he'll say he can't, like basically he'll fail at doing something and then he'll say, oh yeah, we didn't do it because we didn't want to. No, bro, you couldn't.
Iran
you know what I mean?
has
Like,
set themselves up. Iran has set themselves up for the last 2 or 3 decades to only be inflicted at a great deal by either some sort of nuclear weapon or a very aggressive ground on boots style invasion. Anything else, as the last 2 weeks have vindicated us in, actually, has proved to be quite useless because they still have their military capabilities. We cut the head off the snake. We bombed the shit out of Iran. We bombed the school probably to kill some military leader who obviously is not playing a critical role right now because they're still doing what they need to do. This military operates autonomously. With or without leadership, they're still able to effectively strike these GCC countries, these Gulf countries, hit critical infrastructure that's going to push tourism away, which is a big driver of economic growth for countries like Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, etc., as well as the fact that they're still able to pose a threat to Israel. We just had alarms sound last night. It's probably going to happen again if I check these reports on Telegram. So Kharg Island is another desperate grab to push everybody's attention in the other direction and go, oh, look, we're going to attack their oil infrastructure. But no, it's not going to be that easy because the same way their missiles program is fortified underground is the same way that oil is fortified underground. As my brother has stated previously on several different occasions, Iran understands they're never going to win in the air against the United States and Israel. So what better to do than to move all of your military reinforcements as well as your key infrastructure and your oil infrastructure that gets you money from China than to put it underground. Again, that's why we're going to have to deploy Marines eventually on the ground. They just exported some Marines over to the Middle East. I know they've been said to not have the role of initiating some sort of warfare on the ground, but I think the wind is blowing in that direction, whether it's that deployment of 2,500 to 5,000 that we saw in different reports or another one coming. Trump's going to have to do something here and cover ground because the media is wrecking him and he's trying to censor them. We saw Brendan Carr yesterday had issued a threat to revoke the licenses of all these mainstream media news corporations. Oh, they're not reporting honestly and it's all fake news. No, actually, the news is real. That's why you're trying to silence them, because it's showing how asymmetrical this war is and how unbeneficial it is for the United States as well.
Yeah, I think he's realizing this was a huge fuck up.
Kill Grenadians. This will be resisted by Iranian forces that have lived on the island. They've dug into the island. They have their fire support identified. And they're going to make sustainment of this force impossible. Once we land, we'll be shelled the entire time. Wave after wave after drones will be coming in. How much?
What?
Anti-air does the Marine Corps have for a MEU? Not much. We have some handheld man pads, but we have a limited amount of ammunition. And when we burn through it all, the drones will keep coming. This is not going to happen.
Bro, and they make their own drones, chat. Like, you guys got to understand, these drones are infinite. Like, Trump talks about, like, their munitions are infinite. Well, let me tell you something that's really infinite. Those fucking Shahed drones, they make those, they can manufacture like 100 of those a day, Suleiman was telling me.
Yeah, they're super cheap. They're effective. And they've been using them, not even sparingly. They've been using them at great lengths in these Gulf countries. They're just dishing them out for fun. Like I said, they're hitting hotels. They're targeting what you had said earlier in stream, likely key U.S. assets, military personnel, CIA assets, intelligence assets, either belonging to Israel or the United States. And they've got plenty more drones where that comes from, as well as the fact that what have we done to actually slow down their capability of building said drones and missiles so far?
Nothing.
Besides Pete Hegseth's empty claims that he's so desperately blundered about at
let me find it, because he says
in which he said
about
we destroyed some missile carriers or whatever it was. That evidently that doesn't seem to be the case, because Iran still got plenty of ammo for these countries that are not even involved in the conflict. Do you understand? How are we destroying missile carriers and these missile launchers, and we're making a dent in these underground cities if Iran is still happily striking Gulf countries that never had anything to do with the conflict in the first place? They obviously are sitting on a ton of ammunition, probably to the point where they're just not even knowing what to do with it aside from involve other countries and put the United States in a far more jeopardizing position than they once were in. Let's see if you could find that P. Hegseth statement, because he made some bold, empty claim. And I'm pretty sure Iranian officials had responded to that claim and said that that's not true. So,
yeah, let me see.
P.
Highlights.
Hegseth and Donald Trump have just been banking on the ignorance of the American people and the masses.
Yeah.
And like I said yesterday, these left-wing media outlets have been pretty good. They've been giving honest coverage of the war, and they have no vested interest in the GOP. They have no vested interest in Trump winning in the midterms or his approval rating increasing for that matter. And so they've been reporting honestly and saying this is asymmetrical warfare, and Trump doesn't like it.
Looking up, the IRGC and Iranian regime sees only two things on the side of aircraft.
Riyadh, can you do me a favor? Here, can you play this on your side? I'm going to run down and get my burrito real quick.
Go for it.
I'm gonna give it to you so you can control it and stop it and give your commentary. Let me
Telegram,
give you.
go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to you on Telegram right now. Let me see if I can find you. What the?
And let me read some chats in the process. Rick Aussie 7742 says, honestly, Israel only cares about the shipping lane. It so badly wants. Very sad world to reside in. Enjoy your content from the down under. Hey, thanks so much, man. We got people watching from Australia. Yeah, more than the shipping lane, but I suppose that's an aspect as well. Our constant supporter, God bless you. Thank you so much. He says, Iran has been practicing for many years for this very situation. Yes, exactly. You hit the nail on the head. They have been watching every single one of their neighbors get decapitated, and so they're more than ready for this war. And they are quite familiar with American tactics, American warfare. We've displayed our guns, our tricks, and all of the things we have hidden up our sleeves in the last 20 years in places like Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya. And so they've been closely watching. You don't think that they have intelligence assets in those regions, or you don't think that their proxies were directly fighting U.S. intelligence assets or the U.S. military for that matter. They certainly have been, and you best bet your ass they've been collecting notes as a result, and they've been using all of that to give them a little bit of a strategic advantage in the current conflict we're seeing today, which is why they've kind of been edging over in terms of the strategic profile. So yeah, we're desecrating Tehran and other provinces in Iran, and we're bombing the crap out of them, but to no avail. It's a fleeting gain. We're going to have to effectuate some sort of boots on the ground or a big bomb that probably has nuclear profiles or a nuclear profile or nuclear capability to actually cement some sort of progress from the Israeli-U.S. side. You sent the video? Okay, perfect.
Oh, yeah, it's in your Telegram right now.
Nice. All right. I
so
got
that way you can pull it up too and give your commentary. And I got the Scott Ritter one up too still. But yeah, pull it up on your side. I'll take it down on mine.
All right, I got it going on mine.
Right. All right, I added a couple of you guys to OSS. For regular OSS, I got My Ass Stinks, Faceless 83, Zothan Mog. So you guys should have VIP badges. Then for the OSS 300, welcome to Lavelle 22 and T Wright 313. So shout out to you guys for joining up with the OSS 300. Go ahead, you got the video?
Yep.
All right, I'll be right back.
Go for it.
David Ellison takes over that network, the better. Another example of a fake headline that I saw yesterday. War widening. Here's a real headline for you for an actual patriotic press. How about Iran shrinking, going underground? You see, Iran's leaders are...
See, they're not going underground. They've been underground to combat your air superiority that we knew you would claim in the first 7 days of the war, in which you did. But in regards to Iran shrinking, I mean, I suppose maybe they're shrinking on the ground, and what you can see from your military aircrafts, you're just destroying civilian infrastructure as well as killing a lot of civilians. The death count has already reached 2,000, and that's conservative reports and estimates that we read yesterday on stream. So
hiding in bunkers and moving into civilian areas. The only thing that is widening is our advantage. Not to mention our Gulf partners stepping up even more, now going on the offense, and have always been with us on...
Oh, yeah? Who's stepping up on the offensive and posing a threat to Iran militarily? I'd love to hear him substantiate that.
On the defense with collective and integrated air defenses. Our
THAAD missile systems, which is what helps defend the airspace in other Gulf countries like Jordan and others, have been running critically low. We've lost about 30 to 50%. This was reported about a week and a half ago, very early on into the war, when Iran let off the barrage of missiles following the assassination of Ayatollah Khamenei. And we saw when we were running out of missile defense systems for these Gulf countries, we began to over-prioritize Israel. Now, there's no U.S. reports of that, although there is a Saudi official who reported that the United States is moving military assets. By the way, they've done it from South Korea. They moved THAAD systems from South Korea over to Israel, as well as the fact that they aren't prioritizing Saudi airspace. That's why Riyadh got hit in the first few days. That's why Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait are all getting hit, the airports and so on. And these drones really shouldn't be penetrating as effectively as they are. It seems like every single time I go on Twitter, or X rather, I see some new strike in a Gulf country, and one has to ask themselves, is the United States even defending the airspace of the Gulf countries? And the answer is yes, sparingly. They have their hands full. They're stretched wide across the region. Their resources or their defense capabilities are stretched thin because of the fact that Israel has been the main focus of attack for these Iranian ballistic missiles that, by the way, can reach Israel from Tehran in the matter of 7 to 10 minutes, at least the Fatah 1 or the Fatah 2 missile programs. And so they have very complicated, fast ballistic missiles that are very hard for even our complicated interceptors to get a hold of. And if we do manage to get a hold of them, it's still asymmetrical because these missiles that Iran is sending over to Israel, that, by the way, travel Mach 10 or more speed, or Mach 10 or more speed, cost way less than that of what we supply for defense. I think some of the missile defense systems that we use to target their more technologically advanced or quicker missiles, their ballistic ones, are in the range of like $1 million. So again, it's just a losing battle when it comes to the economic side of things.
It is unshakable. Our options maximized and our capabilities still building. We're going up, they're going down.
Our options are maximized. Yeah, we can attack them in any way, but we've proven that the ways in which we've chosen to attack them have not slowed down their capabilities.
As I said from the start, President Trump holds the cards. He'll determine the pace, the tempo, and the timing of this conflict. His hand firmly on the wheel, as well as on the throttle setting.
Really, because I believe U.S. intelligence assets had came out and told Trump prior to the conflict that if you do get militarily involved with Iran, if you do start a conflict or a war, depending on who's telling you about the situation, they're all calling it different things. But before you start this conflict or war, the intelligence assets from the Pentagon, and this was reported in several different news outlets, told Trump, you're going to have to effectuate boots on the ground if you want some sort of regime change. Trump still started this war knowing that. And that's why he said in his briefing from Mar-a-Lago when the war had started, I believe it was from Mar-a-Lago, I can't remember correctly, but I believe it was from Mar-a-Lago when he had the white hat on, he said, well, we're going to lose some people. You know, we're going to lose some people. That's why they're there. And we wish our soldiers the best. They're so strong. They're so good. And, you know, in saying this, he's making it seem like the losses that the United States will suffer will be minuscule or minute, really not even something that's notable. But realistically, as this war progresses, each and every day, boots on ground becomes more and more of a grim but needed or necessary reality to effectuate any of our or Israel's goals. And you bet your ass, a lot of soldiers are unfortunately going to be killed in such said conflict. So,
America first, peace through strength in action. From day one, as our nation expects and the president demands, our warriors have fought with lethality, precision, and rapid innovation. In fact, today will be, yet again, the highest volume of strikes that America has put over the skies of Iran and Tehran. The number of sorties and number of bomber pulses, the highest yet, ramping up and only up. And quantity has a quality of its own as we continue to ramp up. Every tool of AI, of cyber, of space, EW, counter UAS, you name it, we're employing it. Blinding, confusing, and deceiving our enemy. Because we know who the good guys are here. And the American people do too.
Do we? Do we? I mean, really think about it. On an international scale, the entire world is looking at the situation. Several different countries have come out and either condemned the United States or have condemned Iran and given their statements. But one has to ask themselves whether you are a follower of Jesus Christ and you're Christian, or you're Muslim, or you're not even religious, you don't identify with said religion or any religion. Are we actually the good guys here? The answer is probably not. Unfortunately, we're not. What do you think is going to happen? I saw Pete Hegseth the other day. He said, well, I remember serving in the Iraq War because he was a part of the Iraq War. He's a veteran, and he said, I know and I vividly remember these Iranian militia groups and these factions killed so many of my buddies and different U.S. military assets and personnel. And you have to think, it's like, hey, you're invading their space, and this isn't some like Muslim apologist trope like, oh, the Arabs are my people. Obviously I'm Arab, depending on who you're asking. I'm either not black and Arab or I'm not Arab and black. So I guess it depends on the people and their opinion. But 23andMe test coming soon, by the way. I just sent it back. But anyways, I don't want to get derailed here. When you're invading somebody's country, they're going to fight back. Yeah, they're going to grab arms, they're going to bear arms, and they're going to try and kill you back, especially when we're invading their country for a reason that's not even clear. Weapons of mass destruction. The UN had announced in 2008, upon inspection and upon dealing with Saddam Hussein prior, that there were never any weapons of mass destruction found. In 2017, George Bush, in a CNN interview, had apologized for invading Iraq and said, yeah, there were never any weapons of mass destruction. And so we were involved in the Middle East for no reason. By the way, this guy's president, he's a part of the same DOJ from the president that said in 2015, we were in Iraq for no reason. So let me get this straight. Let's just pause for a moment. Donald Trump admitted in 2015 and 2016, campaigning with this whole America First ideology, that we were in Iraq for no reason. Fast forward almost 10 years later, and now you've got the Secretary of War, stupid ass name, Secretary of Defense, whatever you want to call it. He says something opposite. He says, well, we were in Iraq and, we were being killed in it. Do you not know that the same president that you serve had admitted we were in Iraq for no reason? So which one is it? And this is what I'm saying when I say these guys run around fumbling over this contradictory narrative that they all share. We should not be there. Of course we're the fucking bad guys. This doesn't take an expert to actually quantify or really come to a conclusion about. Of course we're the bad guys. We should have never been there because it's not serving our interests. By the way, if the United States needs to intervene to interfere with some election or something for the betterment of the U.S., I'm not even opposed to that. I kind of favor that actually because I want us to be the strongest power in the world. And I know a lot of people may not like that, but I don't mind intervention as long as it serves a legitimate U.S. interest. But in this case, of course, we're the bad guys because not only are we there for the poorest reason, that being the betterment of Israel and them expanding their borders and having autonomy over an already tense region, but we're not even serving any of our own interests. Somebody's going to say, well, China gets cheap oil, but they're still getting the oil. As we speak, they're still exporting cheap-ass oil. By the way, the oil is cheap because we put sanctions on Iran. China's benefiting from cheap oil because, oh my God. Myron, I'm about to cook here. China is benefiting from cheap oil because of the sanctions that we imposed on them in 2018. After Mike Pompeo had said the IRGC is this terrorist organization, and after Trump had put the sanctions back on Iran when he overturned the JCPOA, well, obviously their dollar inflated to hell. And why did that happen? Because of our sanctions. And as a result, China was able to benefit opportunistically off of super cheap oil because at that point, Iran really couldn't leverage their currency. And so you want to make the argument about China, they're able to benefit from this cheap oil because we made their economy suck. So from any angle, no matter how you slice it, how you dice it, this is our fault. We caused the destabilization in Iran so we could have a reason to invade. We saw that with the Mossad agents walking alongside the protesters as quoted in Mike Pompeo's tweet. So it's like, I don't know. This guy's running amok. I don't know how he has done these Pentagon briefings with a straight face. He is truly evil. So sinister to lie to Americans like this.
And that makes my job simple. I serve God, the troops, the country, the Constitution, and the President of the United States. And
wishful statement. I wish you did, but you don't.
Answer only.
You serve Israel.
To those. All in service of victory on the battlefield and the military objectives that we've laid out from day one. Defeat the missiles, missile launchers, and defense industrial base, which I laid out today. Defeat the Navy and deny Iran the ability to have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, because their Navy poses a threat.
Weapon. Clear, decisive, achievable.
They needed a
Admiral.
They needed basically a quick victory, which is we destroyed their Navy.
Yeah, they needed bragging rights, and Trump is hungry for another set of bragging rights, which is why he's going to try and target Kharg Island, but that's going to prove to be quite difficult. And even if we do seize the island quickly, again, what does that really mean in the grand scheme of things? Not much. This war can still drag on for hundreds of days.
Cooper knows.
I still have the Scott Ritter interview too. I still have the Scott Ritter interview ready to go when you're ready for that one too.
We can revisit it whenever. I'm not gonna lie. I've just been frying the shit out of Pete Hegseth for the last like 10 minutes. I barely let him speak. I've just been cooking him like back. So if you want, you can turn.
We can let him play a little bit then. That's fine.
Commander, who we spent a couple of hours with last night, that in pursuit of those objectives, we have his back in every way. His commanders know that, and so do the troops in harm's way. Admiral Cooper gets what he needs, the assets, the authorities, the munitions, you name it. We will stop at nothing to win. War is hell. War is chaos. And as we saw yesterday with the tragic crash of our KC-135 tanker, bad things can happen. American heroes, all of them. And as I have with all of them, as we have, we will greet those heroes at Dover, and their sacrifice will only recommit us to the resolve of this mission. But war in this context and in pursuit of peace is necessary, which is why each day on bended knee we continue to appeal to heaven, to Almighty God's providence, to watch over and give special skill and confidence to our leaders and to our warriors. To those warriors who this nation prays for every single day, I hear from all of you out there who pray for them every day. Stay on bended knee and pray for them. I continue to say to them, Godspeed. May the Lord bless you and keep going. Mr. Chairman, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see what he has to say.
And thank you for joining us today. Before I start with an update, I also want to address the tragic loss of our KC-135 refueling aircraft yesterday. The incident.
Really quick, let me just catch up on these chats. Okay. Hour says Iran has been. Read that already. Oops. Nate Paul says next talk Sunni and Shia and who's fought for Zionism more. Interesting conversation. That is a multifaceted conversation, but I would love to have it. Mr. Nick, W Trump impression. Yeah, I hit the illy Trump impression. You weren't there. Sogno Sprite says, $90 to fill up my tank in California today. God damn. I played the bell sound effect on my stream. That is tough. I usually pay $60. How are China and Russia getting their oil? Do you think the Gulf states will join BRICS? That's an amazing question. What do you think, Myron? Oh, sorry, you're yomping.
Can you hear me?
Your burrito. Yeah, I can hear you. But so she's saying, and thank you so much, Sagno, for the super chat. The price of filling up her tank went up $30. And in regards to China and Russia, I mean, Russia has already strategically been providing natural gas and oil.
They're getting a big W.
Yeah,
now.
Russia's benefiting largely off of this. And the Gulf states, yeah, there is a potentiality that they may, if the idea or the whole notion of them never being a part of BRICS was cemented, that is certainly overturned at this point. I mean, now the United States has proved that our assets and our military bases, I said this yesterday, it's the funniest kind of ironic situation. The bases that we have stationed in these GCC countries are meant to defend them, and they've effectively only put a target on these Gulf countries' backs and made them the subject of attack. So they're working in an opposite effect to that of which they exist for. So maybe these Gulf countries will, after this conflict, and I think there's a very good likelihood, I don't think somebody would be wrong to predict this, would say, we're done with the United States. We'll work with them sparingly and scarcely, but for the most part, we're going to look towards the other hemisphere and work with our big allies here in Russia and China. There's a potentiality of that. And that's the whole benefit. People think that Russia and China are going to get involved in this war on the ground and launch strikes. And no, that's the last thing they would do. They want to stay as far as they can away from this conflict and just quietly around the back alley tell all these Gulf countries, hey, you've always got a home over here. And what better time to do it? What, more advantageous time to kind of throw that pitch than now. So yeah, it's a very good super chat. Yeah, BRICS is a threat. That's why we did what we did in Venezuela, by the way. BRICS is materializing and becoming more of a threat to the petrodollar, every single few years. It's gaining some speed and covering ground. Any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, we told you guys that you guys were going to feel it at the gas pump. The fact that you're, filling up your tank, you said she went from 50 to 90.
She went
That's
from
absolutely
60
crazy.
to 90, bro. That is ridiculous.
60 to 90. Yeah,
That's
60
crazy.
to 90 is absolutely nuts. And you know what the crazy part is? We're not even at the worst part. It's going to go up more. We're talking about a barrel of oil, I predict it's going to get, keep in mind, you're getting that price point with everybody doing the most to try to keep the prices down. You got world leaders talking about the war's going to end. You got world leaders saying we're going to have a naval escorts. You got world leaders talking about, I'm convening all the GCC countries to, the G7 countries that we're going to release 400 million barrels of oil, right? Unprecedented levels of hope all across the world for what they're going to do to deal with this energy crisis. And you still have $100 barrels of oil. Like all of that, and you still have $100 barrels of oil. So it's only going to get worse, man. We hit 120, and we hit 120. That was obviously catastrophic. Trump was like, holy shit, I need to do something. And that's why he had that press conference at 4:00 on Doral last week. So they're doing everything in their power to keep the price, somewhat manageable. But there's no running away from it. Like as long as the Strait of Hormuz is closed, the barrel price are going to continue to go up. Them releasing 400 million a barrel is a short-term problem for a long-term issue. They're going to have to figure some type of political off-ramp here. And Trump is looking for one. Despite the fact that he's saying that they want to do a deal, that's all a fucking lie, bro. The Iranians don't want to do a deal. And honestly, they're not going to have a deal. And they're not going to end this war until they get three things. Number one, security guarantees that we won't attack them again. Number two, they're going to want reparations and full sanction relief. Everything that we destroyed, we pay for, and we take them completely off the sanction list. Okay? And then number three, complete removal from the Middle East. Yeah. Complete removal from the Middle East. Those are the three things that they want. And we know that Trump is not going to agree to that. And we know for sure that Israel will agree to that.
Yeah,
so,
he can't. And that's why, if Trump pulls out, it's a huge victory for Iran, at least symbolically. I understand that their infrastructure has been critically damaged, but that doesn't take away from the fact that we didn't finish a campaign in which we started to promise a regime change, which kind of came out as time progressed the first few days into the war, thanks to people like Marco Rubio and others, as well as like Mark Levin, Stephen Witkoff, Jared Kushner. What is the deal? This is the problem when you hire loyalists, and a bunch of your loyalists work not only in the DOJ, but they represent you on social media. They blunder and say stupid shit like every Mossad agent walks amongst you. Hello, why did no one in the GOP tell Mike Pompeo's dumbass to remove that tweet? Way to make it easy for people like me and my brother to highlight that the United States has direct involvement in launching some sort of coup d'etat, not only in Iran, but something we've historically done in other countries like Latin America. So Trump's DOJ is not only super incompetent, they're also very poor at admitting the truth. And again, that's what happens when you have a lot of loyalists in your department who serve you. They're going to be more interested in serving you rather than serving the country. And so that
I was showing them earlier.
A lot of misjudgments, a lot of miscalculations. And not only that, but these idiots have been making mistakes on and off with the media, with their tweets. They're just telling on themselves. And it's crazy. I get Israel does it in their media, but like, why are we doing it as American politicians? Like, why, shouldn't you guys trying to be hiding that? Like, it's just ridiculous. Go ahead.
Look, remember how I told you about, there was a classified briefing that said that going into Iran will be retarded. Look, let me show you. Like literally this came out just today. Hold on one sec.
Sure. While you're pulling that up, let me read the super chat. Alexander Nico, $10. Thanks so much, man. Shit is bad when this guy makes Donald Rumsfeld look like a competent Secretary of Defense by far. The Bush neocons were evil and insane, but these guys are stupid and insane. This is not going to go well. And I said the reason why this is so much worse is because in that Bush neocon era, there was some sort of domestic sentiment from the people of the United States. There was some sort of populist appetite for a war in the Middle East, a war on terror, 9/11. We need our lick back. We need to get revenge. The Muslims. But that doesn't even exist anymore. So Trump went into this war with the shitty approval that he had. I understand the Republicans are in favor of it, but again, they're all shills and loyalists for him. He's in their pockets likely, as well as other lobbyists and donors. But the motivations here are non-existent. This was complete bidding and submission to Israel. So yeah, I agree. This is even worse than our invasion 2003. Go ahead.
Look at this.
We just had 4 states. It was just reported that 4 states had $1.99 a gallon.
Trump should have had ample warning that toppling the Iranian government was not going to happen. On March 7th, the Washington Post revealed that a classified report by the National Intelligence Council found that even a large-scale assault on Iran launched by the United States would be unlikely to oust the Islamic Republic's entrenched military and clerical establishment.
I said this while you were grabbing your burrito. Literally said this.
Okay.
It's crazy. Go ahead. Keep going.
The report was completed.
And I said this last week because the report came out like last. I said this.
Yeah, we reported on it. It's just for the sake of potential new viewership.
Yeah. Now you guys can see it. Yeah.
These assets gave Trump the heads up. They said, "Hey, like, bro, this
is a bad idea, bro.
This isn't a good idea. You know, if you want to do it,
still did it, bro.
It's gonna result
fucking
in
retarded.
Yep.
Fucking retarded, bro.
About a week before the United States and Israel initiated the war.
And he still did it, man.
War. The intelligence concluded that Iran's clerical and military establishment would respond to the killing of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei by following protocols designed to preserve continuity of power. Further.
Yeah, bro.
We also said that.
That's all I wanted to show. Big fucking waste.
That kind of ties into the whole dead man switch thing too. You know, after Ayatollah was killed, they went crazy with a very systematic and calculated barrage of missiles across the entire region. So that was obviously intentional as well. I'm not saying him being killed was intentional, although that's even arguable as well. There's a potentiality of that being real too. So,
yep. Here, we'll go back to this MEU thing here.
There will not be a Marine leader who will say, that's a mission we're willing to do. We know that the military's already told Trump to pound sand. Take the ships through the straits, naval escorts. And Navy went, no, we're not doing that.
Yep.
Not going to happen. And we're not going to put boots on the ground. This is a show force because we don't have any capability to put boots on the ground. So for the president to say, oh, well, I may have to, this is just a show of force, but it's not enough. The Marines are good, but they're not that good. And they can't do what the president wants with the forces. And it's very risky because if we go in with an amphibious assault ship and it gets hit by a missile, we could lose 900 Marines plus the embarked sailors who are part of the crew. You know, we could have 1,200 men in the water. No president wants that. And for what? To take an island that isn't going to open up the Strait of Hormuz anyways. But I just think this is basically a propaganda thing. My guess is that this war will be over before those Marines are on station. Again, I don't know where they're coming from. So if they're close, they could be on station. But my guess is that Trump is desperately looking for an off-ramp. But in the meanwhile, he's going to be posturing because the whole Trump thing is peace through strength.
Sorry, that reminds me. Trump came out in a statement, I believe it was today, and he had said that if our NATO allies don't help us, well, it's going to be, he says always vaguely, it's going to be very bad. It's not going to be good. Well, Mr. President, what do you mean it's not going to be good? Well, I think you know what I mean. I think it's going to be bad. I think he said this on Air Force One.
I don't mind him.
But he was saying that NATO's not helping it again. So let's bring things back a few months, as me and my brother have said several times. And I know he doesn't like to brag too much about it. Don't worry, I'll do the bragging for us. We said on an international scale this would hurt our relations with several different countries. And that could potentially enter the picture now as well, because now Trump is trying to put everybody on their back foot by condemning them for not directly supporting the United States as we prepare to launch strikes on Kharg Island. So again, another thing that is just proven to be a liability for this war. It's another piece or aspect that has tied in thus far. And did you play his statement on Air Force One?
Which one?
He said they want to negotiate badly, but I don't think they're ready to do what they have to do.
Oh yeah, we could play it. I said it was bullshit. Some Eric Doherty, the biggest retard ever.
Oh, he's the worst. He's a cancer on the X space. Myron?
Yeah, I froze.
Oh, you scared me, bro. I thought they.
Yeah, no, dude is the worst, bro. He is the worst X account for Trump propaganda ever, bro.
Yeah, here, take a look at
this. He's so embarrassing, bro.
They want to negotiate. They want to negotiate badly. I don't think they're ready.
That's not true.
Just on what I'm hearing, they want to negotiate.
Bro, blatant fucking lie, bro.
Absolute
that is such a blatant fucking lie.
Absolute lie. And this is what
incredible.
And this is what scares me as an American. his gall to lie like this. And I get it. Trump is like
Yeah.
kind of losing it. He's pushing 80 years old, but like this is, of all the lies I've heard U.S. presidents spin, he's not even trying to like propagate it or give it some sort of propaganda spin. He's just saying pure bullshit, you know?
Badly, as they should. Yeah, but I don't think they're ready to do what they have to do. But I think they will be.
No, they are ready to do what they have to do, which is have 500,000 IRGC psycho Shias on the ground ready to fight our U.S. military personnel, that being Marines, as well as fortify Kharg Island that was previously attacked by Iraq in the 80s. And so they've been building it up for the last 3 decades. And they've said already they're not coming to the table for negotiations or diplomacy unless you lift their sanctions, which you cannot do because that will bolster up their proxies against Israel. This is what I call opening a can of worms you can never close. Trump made probably the biggest mistake we've seen in the last few decades or last few presidencies.
This was the biggest. I'm convinced this was like one of the biggest geopolitical blunders I've seen
in recent history,
in recent modern day history, bro.
1,000,000%. This is a lot worse than the Iraq war because at least Iraq sucked. You know, Iran doesn't suck. Iran is a lot more capable from a military perspective than Iraq ever was, and they actually have a decent military. But go
the
ahead.
Iraqis didn't like actually retaliate hard until 5 months in. These niggas hit back hard immediately.
Day one.
People forget the Iraq war. We just airstruck the fuck out of them and then put boots on the ground. Like the Iraqis didn't really like hit back hard until a while. It took like 5 months for them to mount like some type of actual resistance. And even then, the Americans like had issues and actually asked the Iranians for help with that.
Yes.
So,
which is
so
why
for
Pete
them
Hegseth was saying in his sentiment in the Pentagon, "Oh, my buddies got killed by Iranians." That's where that comes from. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, and that's bullshit too. When they put that whole hasbara about Iranian IEDs, whatever, that was Al Qaeda, bro. These were like Sunni extremist groups that were doing that. It was not the Iranians. Okay.
Yeah.
And I can't believe they still tell that fucking lie.
That was Ahmed al-Shara, actually. The
Yeah, it
leader
was
that
this
we
nigga.
planted in
Exactly.
Syria. That was who was fucking Pete Hegseth up back in 03 and 04. It was actually Mohammed Jolani, who is now the leader of Syria, planted by the CIA from our doing. You know, the United States has a really relevant history of supporting these extreme Orthodox fundamental Salafi groups like Osama bin Laden, the Mujahideen in the 80s, and then we obviously see ISIS and Al-Qaeda in 2015 with Clinton and Obama, and now Ahmed Shara, or formerly known as Mohammed Jolani, who was formerly a part of Al-Qaeda. So we have always supported these Salafi Islamists.
Yeah, it was actually Jolani that was blowing your friends up, buddy. And now he's the president of Syria. We put him in. So, like, it wasn't the Iranians, bro. That's such a that's a big MAGA lie that they tell when they say that Iranians were responsible for the IEDs and the car bombings, etc. That was all fucking made in Iraq, all domestically made. Scott Horton debunked this in his book. Enough already, right? So, it's bullshit, right? It's complete bullshit. So, whenever they said, I always like kind of just laugh because I'm like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? And then the other thing also, besides that, there was something we were talking about. Before that.
Trump.
Yeah, this was the biggest geopolitical blunder. Yes, because the Iraqis, they couldn't mount a real fight back until 5 months later. The Iranians are fighting back immediately. And I would argue that the Iranians have caused us more destruction than any other military in recent history. They destroyed all of our bases in the Middle East, bro. We're talking about billions upon billions of dollars of fucking damage.
Yeah.
Like billions.
Like,
bro, one of the radars they destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
One of the radars they destroyed, I think it's in Qatar, was $1 billion by itself. That's not to include all the THAAD missiles, THAAD missile systems they destroyed, as well as the big radar that they destroyed in Jordan. No one talks about that either. They fucked up our shit in Jordan.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like absolutely fucking nuts. It's mad that like he's still trying to spin this thing. And the thing is that this war has an 80% approval rating. No, it doesn't. That's like a 20% approval rating.
Yeah.
The only people that are saying that this war is good are idiots like the guy I showed earlier today. Loyalist shills, or like moronic YouTubers like the Enforcer and the other retarded nigga that I showed, white dude. He used to be a fighter pilot. He's also an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, dudes are stupid.
It's unfortunately usually the ex-military because they always have this vested interest of the United States being this powerful, over-imposing world power. And it's like, yeah, but, you know, there is
Bro, that's all he was doing. was
there's
glazing.
there's
He was literally
threshold.
glazing American technology. That's all he did the whole
You hear
stream was
these
glazing
idiots
American,
going
American
into
tech.
this nerdy terminology, talking about, oh, you know, we've got this and we've got that, and then they're specifying these complicated names of aircraft carriers and like these military code words that only military personnel know. And it's like, hey, yeah, you sound smart, buddy, but you're not explaining the actual grand scheme of why this war is destroying us. Another thing too, you know, I said this earlier, you were gone. Trump had used and weaponized the mistake of the Iraq war to get elected in 2015 and 2016. So it's like, hey, where's the correction now? That's why this is also such a big mistake geopolitically, because he knows how detrimental it is to get involved in the Middle East if there's no legitimate reason to actually do so. And so he knows better. That's another issue as to why this is so much more aggrandized or so much more of a critical mistake, because he has the foreknowledge. You know, he knows that what this implicates, and he doesn't seem to care. Let me just catch up on these chats really quick. I just got one. Zeke going blow. Okay, Zeke going blow. Salam alaikum. Not Muslim, by the way. Okay, wa alaikum salam. No thanks. You guys are the news. Don't sell out and keep up the good work. Hey, bro, you got nothing to worry about over here. God bless you. Thank you so much. Anything else, Myron? I apologize.
Yeah, there was something else I was gonna say. Oh yes. So these like, yo, and it really bothers me because like, let's imagine, right? Like let's go into like a dream scenario where I'm punching you in the face, right? I'm just punching you in the face, but I'm telling you like, oh man, like, are you enjoying this punch? Like I've been training in boxing for a long time. It's costing me $1,000. I got the best trainer in the world. Man, I'm really throwing these punches perfectly. Like, oh, by the way, do you enjoy these, these brass knuckles I just got? Like, how does this feel? Yeah, these cost me $1,000. That's exactly what these stupid military channels are doing to the American public, bro.
Yeah.
Like, these stupid ass niggas are sitting there. Americans are getting fucking punched in the face, right? As my thing freezes. Hold on. Let me turn my camera off. Americans are getting punched in the face, right? At the pump, by everything. They're like literally getting like completely destroyed. And these stupid ass niggas are like telling them like, oh, look, I'll punch you in the face with some nice brass knuckles that I just bought, for a great price. It's like, dude, are you fucking serious? Like, you're trying to distract them from getting punched in the face by saying some other stupid shit about, oh yeah, I now I know how to punch from an expensive boxing trainer. Like, I got the best boxing trainer ever, or I got these brass knuckles that are gold or platinum. Like, that's what these military channels are like doing. And it really pisses me off because this fucking retard is over here talking about like Nimitz class aircraft carriers and, oh man, like this fighter jet is so fucking badass. Look at this. Like, we just bombed these guys. Like, nigga, are you retarded? Are you fucking stupid? Like, you're seriously sitting here glazing American superpower, which like is a given, right? When it's like, hello, we're in the middle of a war right now that doesn't need to be done, that is literally destroying everybody's ability to live like an affordable lifestyle. Like, affordability was like one of the number one fucking things that people were concerned about when it came to the last election, you fucking retard, right? And it bothers me because I'm like, yo, this nigga's probably making 20, 30K a month, right, off his YouTube channel. He don't give a fuck about none of y'all. Like, he doesn't give a shit that gas is costing you guys $90 at the fucking pump when it used to cost you guys $60 before. We care because we know what it's like to have a regular job before this shit. So it's like, these guys don't give a fuck. They're so fucking dumb. And they're not telling you guys the truth about what the fuck is going on. And look, me and my brother both like Donald Trump. Like, guys, we're not some angry, jaded Muslim niggas. Like, we like Donald Trump. I voted for Donald Trump. Okay? I voted for Donald Trump, but I'm not going to sit by and like push this Hezbollah and lie to you guys and tell you like, yeah, this war is awesome. Like, let's go ahead and show like our fucking tomahawks and look at all these lancers that we're using. That's all a bunch of bullshit. It's distraction from the real problems at hand. The military superiority and the destruction is completely fucking relevant. And that's why I used the example before. It's like someone punching you in the face with golden brass knuckles and saying, look at these golden brass knuckles. They're so fucking lit, dude. I spent $1,000 on them, but they're punching you in the face with them. Like, you don't give a fuck about the brass knuckles.
As they're knocking your teeth out and breaking your jaw. Yeah, it's a complete irrelevant aspect of the entire situation. The fact that we're the strongest military in the world is super implied. It's a given. Everybody knows that. And again, I would love to see what these channels that are pushing this war have to say about the fact that we're serving a greater benefit, that being Israel, a country that is notorious for betraying us. We have the whole Jundullah situation that we just watched yesterday, where Israel had deployed Mossad agents posing as Americans with American passports to invoke terrorist attacks in Iran to get them to potentially strike us, something that Bush wasn't aware about, as well as the fact that they stole an atomic bomb from us. I mean, and so many other things that they've done to jeopardize our safety in the name of causing more forever wars, which is what they've done effectively with Iran. So it's like, not only are these guys,
right here.
not only
This
these
is what
guys
I'm talking about.
warmongers, but they're very lazy when it comes to foreign policy and history.
Like this guy right here, bro. Like, look, there's not many YouTubers like I'll sit there and say like I dislike these people very strongly, but guys like this guy and like this motherfucker. Hold on, this channel right here, like, bro.
Yes. Okay. Here we are, everybody.
Like these two pieces of shit, like these two guys right here, like, bro. People should be smacking the fuck out of these niggas and like roasting them. Like these guys deserve to be cooked all day, every day. Because these guys are warmonger, retard, goy slop, moronic, stupid fucks that sit here and glaze American firepower all day while not dealing with the real issues at hand, right? And this is like a serious fucking problem because people will watch this bullshit. If you go on this guy's channel, right? This guy gets a lot of views. And I don't give a shit about people getting views. I don't give a fuck about people getting views, making money. I don't care about that. I have a problem with the misinformation and taking people's fucking attention off of the real problem at hand. 724K, 554, 607, 807, 3 days ago. Like this guy is making a killing off of pushing out a bunch of fucking bullshit and distracting Americans from the real fucking problem, right? U.S. military just did something huge to Iran's Kharg Island oil. Like, nigga, what? Are you stupid? Like, this is crazy to me, dude. Like, it's crazy. And this gets so many views. And again, like I said before, I don't give a fuck, bro. Like, if someone's putting out information that's talking about this being a problem, I will promote that channel all fucking day. This isn't about views. My concern is that Americans are watching this thinking like, oh, shit's all sweet, blah, blah. And like, they don't realize until they get to the gas pump. We told y'all, you guys that watch us, we told y'all, you guys are going to feel this in the pump immediately. Someone comes in, right? Unfortunately to that young lady. Oh yeah, my gas went up from 60 to 90 in California.
Yeah.
You think this retard here gives a fuck, this stupid ass nigga, bro? Hell nah, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And, you know, again, anybody who's falling for that are the same people that are watching Pete Hegseth and getting fired up in front of the TV during his Pentagon briefings when he says, well, we destroyed a missile carrier and we're going to destroy Kharg Island and we're making a dent. And I spent like 30 minutes earlier debunking him while you were gone, or really 15 minutes. But, you know, information is free. And so if you fall victim to this bullshit, to these lies that actually propel Israel a lot farther forward, well, then you deserve to lose and be misinformed, and you're honestly an idiot. You know, but thank God that, you know, we have a platform here that we're able to educate people on. And I think as time progresses, guys like this who are spinning this whole the United States narrative will begin to lose a lot of momentum once the mass population or populace realizes, man, this war has carried on for 4 or 5 months, 6 months. God knows if it'll get to a year. And these videos won't carry the same currency anymore because now it's a conversation of, okay, we've done damage, but why are we still fighting? And that's when these guys are going to lose all momentum that is probably dissipating as time progresses. In the beginning, they probably had some sort of talking point and saying, well, we killed the leader and we killed that, and fair enough, but we're 2 weeks in, actually 16 days in, so 2 weeks and 2 days, and we've found that despite all of our military cutting the head off of snake type of style of warfare, it hasn't proven effective to actually slowing down the bombardment of GCC countries as well as Israel. So it's crazy.
Yeah, and you look, right, like he started getting views with the Venezuela shit, and then once you know what I mean? Look, U.S. military gears up for Greenland takeover. Like, this guy's just like a full-on, like, you know, warmonger retard. And you guys got to be very careful of guys like this, right? Because, you know, they're not going to tell you the truth because they have a vested interest in, like, only telling you, like, the good, and not, like, the inherent issues that come with it. And then as soon as we go into war, right, the views start shooting up crazy. And all this guy does is literally talk about, you know, American air power, how we're just demolishing them militarily, whatever, but he never talks about the very serious geopolitical ramifications of said issue. And since so many Americans are stupid, they just don't know better. They just don't, unfortunately, they just don't know better. And it's very sad.
And by the way, Myron, I think the price of groceries have crept up a little bit as well. I think eggs are
100%
up.
they have.
I think milk is
if
up.
oil
Yeah,
goes
so-
up, if oil goes up, food automatically goes up. It's a given, bro. And then these stupid niggas with their brain dead commentary, right? Like these niggas were so dumb to sit there and say yesterday. I watched them say it. Oh yeah, the Iranians stopped protesting because the U.S. wasn't coming and they were getting killed by the Iranians. Blah blah. Like that's why they stopped protesting. And I was like, holy shit. That's why we had to go into that whole thing about it being astroturf. So like these guys aren't telling you guys the truth about this stuff, and it really pisses me off, and it's really annoying because like now I gotta combat their misinformation, and not only do I have to combat their misinformation, they reach a bigger crowd because YouTube pushes the negative, pushes this like fucking bullshit, right?
Here,
so
let me
anyway,
read this chat really quick. Nate Pulse,
it's just Iraq part 2, bro. It's all Iraq part 2, and it pisses me off because I'm like,
I tweeted that on the 28th of February. I tweeted that on Saturday, the first day of the war. I said the parallels between this and Iraq are remarkable, and you would think that the president who condemned that same very attack would know that, but I guess not. Nate Pulse 1998 says, are Salafists as anti-Israel as Ba'athist and Iran? I would say no. I would say Ba'athist and Iranian regime, or Iranian proxies rather, in Iran as a whole, are probably more Israel. And that's because in Salafiyya, which is a creator sect of Islam, it's like a rigid Orthodox Islam, you'll find that there is this, binding aspect or something that's obligatory upon the people, which is to obey the ruler. So if the ruler doesn't decide that it's fit to attack Israel or go to war or anything like that, then the people must follow and coincide with that. If they don't, then, they can go to jail. And that's kind of like an idea Salafiyya. They don't really oppose powers or anything like that. And that's not all Salafists, but for the Saudi monarchy and things like that, you'll notice that. Whereas Iran and Ba'athists, they just need a feel away and they'll attack a country. So you have that kind of that difference between the two. And hey, did you see the video of Netanyahu? Apparently it was AI, but there's conflicting reports.
That's what they're saying. I don't think he's dead, bro. I know niggas really want to dream about him dying, and I actually think it's not good for him to die right now. He would be looked at as a martyr, and then it would be someone way worse that would come in, bro.
Let's take a look here. Did you play the video on stream?
I did. Go ahead. You can play it again though. Go ahead, play it again because I gotta close. My OBS just froze. It's still I'm still here, but I'm gonna close OBS and come right back.
Okay. Yeah, OBS.
Hopefully I don't fucking get my shit cooked. Yeah, I'll be right back, guys. Let's see here. You guys might still be able to hear me. I'm gonna close the program. Fuck it. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
My shit might get cooked. I don't know.
We'll just join the call right after.
Yeah, I'm opening it right back up.
And guys, if you're in here in my stream, please like the video. That helps me in the algorithm, boosts engagement. And we're working, man. We're at 13K subs. Quick Don DeMarco. I didn't even thank you guys for that, so thank you so much. We are moving. The channel is collecting a lot of momentum as time increases. So thanks so much for that, guys. Like the video and share it with everybody. Leave a comment, leave a chat, and boost me up. Boost me up. I really appreciate the love, man. Okay, are you back?
My stream went down, and then hold on, I think it'll come back probably. Hold on. It'll probably.
Yeah, and guys, this is the video of BB.
מה שאלת אותי? ראש הממשלה אומרים ברשת שאתה בכלל מת? אני מת על קפה, אתה יודע מה? אני מת על העם שלי. איך הם מתנהגים, פנטסטי. אתה רוצה לספור את מספר אצבעות?
So he's showing his hand here to show that it's like not AI, that he's got 5 fingers. I think there was some incident previously where a video of him was reported to be AI or something like that. But of course he's speaking Hebrew, so I haven't got a clue what he's saying. He's drinking coffee here. And he's
they
also
said that you're dead. And he said, I'm like, yeah, dying for coffee or something like that.
Okay, that's what he said, yeah. Yeah, and you could watch it through, but I highly, like I said too, I highly doubt that he is. Again, it's wishful thinking from the masses because, of course, he's probably the most disliked person on the damn planet right now. But very, very low likelihood that he's actually been taken out. Look, Iran's got a good missiles program, but I don't think it's that good. I'll be dead honest with you. I don't think they have the ability to kill him. That's just my honest opinion. And I'd be happy to be wrong, but I don't think they will be able to go that far. So let's see. Got a couple more chats in here. Hypocrisy, can you debate PBD? Please, their podcast is lying. You and your brother are the best. I don't watch no news anymore. Hey, thanks for the super chat, man. We reacted to their video. I uploaded a video on it if you saw that. It actually got a lot of views. People really loved it. But look, Patrick Bet-David is Iranian, and so He's got a vested interest in the Shah-style regime taking power again, and so this regime change benefits him. He doesn't like Islam. He's pretty much made that clear indirectly or directly, and he's got a dog in the fight, so that's why he's so invested, but he's just unfortunately wrong. I disagree with him on almost every aspect of the war. He talks about the history of Iran and everything like that, but Iran actually went downhill when the United States got involved. We messed them up. By the way, Charlie Kirk had admitted that, so he's got to reconcile that fact and come to the table. Him and Vinny have been really off on it, but I don't want to attack the guy. That's what it is.
I'm gonna end my stream and start it back up.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna end it and start it back up because this shit. I think I'm on Rumble, but Kick, I'm down. OSS, I'm down.
Are you gonna stay in the Discord?
Yeah, I can stay in the Discord. It's fine. I'm gonna. Yeah, let me. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, I think I know why it's down. What the hell? All right, that might fix it actually.
Albo Ace 996 says the main MAGA people are now Laura Loomer and Mark Levin. Trump has lost his mind. Did you guys see his Truth Social post today? No, I can put that in the queue actually. Let's see what he said. Yeah, no, it's a losing situation to defend Trump at this point, man. Very hard to do so. Let's see. We have 3 digits, $50. Thank you so much, man. Big super chat. Why are those ears so effing big on that guy drinking coffee? Yeah, I know, right?
We're back.
Ears are ginormous. Are you back?
Yes.
Okay.
Fuck it. I'll turn everything back on since I lost everybody. God damn it, man.
And then Evan Hilton 5175 says W stream. Hey, WU, bro. Thank you so much. I hope you guys are enjoying. We got high viewership. Like the video and jump over. My brother's starting stream back up. I saw a couple of you probably pop in from who were previously
I started
in
back
stream.
up on JTube and everything because I fucking
jump back in on Kick for all of you guys in here who are gonna move back to Myron stream because it's back up now. I'm looking at it. Go on Kick. Leave for all of you guys. Forget the YouTube. Obviously, the YouTube is gonna cause organic viewership. But if you're in here now, you're gonna jump back onto Myron's. Check them out on Kick. I just dropped the link here. What happened? Why did the stream drop?
It's because I had to turn OBS off.
Someone said, "What kind of attack is happening to Myron these days?" Yeah, it's crazy,
bro. It's so annoying, man. It's because I'm running a lot of stuff. So like,
you're cooking too much, bro. You're cooking too much.
Yeah. But no, I had to. Yeah. But basically, for all the people that joined in, I basically had to go ahead, finish reading your chats, and I'll say what I got to finish. What I'm going to say.
No, Real Motivation World just chatted in. Thanks for the super chat. He says that guy on Timcast had kosher cocaine. Yeah, he definitely.
Probably.
That's a good word for it. What were you saying?
No, I was gonna say that people like again, these two guys right here, bro. Like hold on, let me share real fast. Like this shit right here, like YouTube channels like this is like straight goy slop retards, bro.
Yeah.
Max Afterburner and then Forcer, like I really dislike these guys.
Very
because,
low IQ, millennial boomer friendly content for sure.
Yeah, bro. Like this stuff is extremely and again, not a problem with these guys personally. I don't have a problem with them personally, but I have a problem with the content that they're putting out right now because the issue here is that these guys are talking about we're bombing Iran. Yes, this is great, awesome, America, fuck yeah, but they're not talking about the consequences of the bombing, which is this right here. Literally, WTI crude is at $99. Brent crude, aka the international barrel of oil, is sitting at $104. Guys, this is catastrophic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a serious problem. So these two stupid niggas are never going to talk about this shit. They're going to sit there and tell you a bunch of nerdy stuff about, look, we blew up this stuff and we got F-22 Raptors, those other shit. It's like, yeah, nobody gives a fuck about none of that, dude. Like, no one cares. Like, and I gave the example earlier because I'm back on YouTube now, so I might as well just tell you guys. The analogy is simply this. It's like you're getting punched in the face, and the guy's bragging that he's punching you in the face with brass knuckles and they're really expensive. That's literally what these idiots are promoting. And it bothers me because I'm getting like flashbacks of like Iraq. This is exactly some of the rhetoric that was utilized in Iraq to justify that stupid ass war. And we're going through it again.
Shooting ourselves.
And this war is worse. This is worse than Iraq. This is the biggest. What I would argue, this is probably one of the biggest geopolitical blunders of our fucking lifetime, dude. Because at least Bush, right? Like he had 9/11 to use, right? These guys don't even have fucking 9/11, dude.
Yeah, and Bush also didn't have a very large mistake of a prior Middle Eastern conflict that drained U.S. resources. Trump had that, and he still, despite knowing that and using it to leverage his campaign in 2015, went to war anyways. And Jaded Got Ammo actually just chatted in something very relevant, $10. Thank you so much, my friend. He says, why are the boomers saying this war is beneficial geopolitically? For a couple different reasons. Primarily, I would say you got to realize with people who are older, they don't look to alternative media sources or alternative news sources like me and my brother or others. And so they don't really get the truth on this because, unfortunately, mainstream media only reports on the way in a very one-sided or one-dimensional manner, which kind of pushes this lie. But even then, they've been relatively honest in saying that this war may stretch out longer than it should, which is hurting Trump and his administration as well as his approval rating. But yeah, I mean, boomers are just older, man. They've had their style and they've had their framework of thinking for several years. And so it's very hard to convince somebody who's 40, 50, 60 years old and tell them, hey, you've been lied to your whole life. You're actually wrong. This is the truth. And then disarm or, kind of tell them that Muslims are not actually the primary issue as to why the Middle East is stable. But it's very easy for them to believe that. So there's a big benefit in disarming Muslims. And that's not to do this whole pro-Muslim sentiment from some left-wing ideological perspective. It's disarming Muslims allows people to have a wide open, clear view into the Middle East and go, oh, wait, okay, now I can see the issue clearly. And it's obviously not Muslims. It never was. But again, it takes a lot of red pilling and consumption of alternative media for one to come to such conclusion. I think that can only be done under the age of like 35. Once you're 40 or older, and there's studies on this, like your brain just no longer can convince itself differently than what it's previously been thinking for years. Sogno Sprite says, hi Riyadh, sorry, can you please explain to me, are China and Russia affected if the Strait is closed? Yeah, they're affected positively because China is still reaping the benefit of cheap oil through the Strait, which Iran is currently still exporting. They're able to test their weapons in this current warfare without being directly involved, as well as the fact that restrictions for Russian natural gas have been lifted to relieve some of the pressure from the Strait of Hormuz being closed off with Iranian missiles. So actually China and Russia are benefiting quite nicely from this war and this conflict, which is again something
very well
my brother had said would happen.
All their adversaries are benefiting. This is why Trump is such a fucking dumbass with this conflict. Like they warned him, I showed you guys the report earlier, they warned him that this probably won't lead to regime change. It's a theocracy. The clerics aren't going to move. The people are going to probably rally behind the government. And he still went ahead and did the attack. And he had this classified top secret briefing with this Security Council. And they told him this. And he still went ahead and did the attack. You know what I mean? Like just foolish, just like really bad, foreign policy, enormous amount of pressure from the Israeli lobby clearly made him make this blunder. And now he's he's basically stuck up Schitt's Creek without a paddle, because the Iranians before, right, would, let the Americans know how they were going to attack. They let the Americans know how they were going to do things. They, obviously didn't want to have a full-on regional war, didn't want to get involved with a war. But now the U.S. attacked them and killed their Ayatollah. So, like, bro, it's gloves off now, man. Like, it's like so fucking dumb. Just so stupid. It's incredible to me how, and then he's like lying, saying like, oh, the Iranians want to come to the table and negotiate. No, they don't, dude. No, they fucking don't.
They definitely won't unless we guarantee some sort of security benefit as well as sanctions relief, which they said, like you had mentioned earlier. And it doesn't make sense because Iran also, like, guys, you got to understand this entire stream, me and Myron are explaining all these things to you. Iran knows this. Like, they're quote-unquote red-pilled about this stuff. And so they know Israel wants control of the region. They know about the whole red heifer situation. They know the whole lore. So they know the only way they can pull out of this war diplomatically and ensure it won't happen again is some sort of written contract or some sort of promise from the American government that not only will we never attack them again, but we will lift sanctions so their people won't potentially go against them again, which is kind of, some of that was organic. I'm not saying the Iranian population was not dissatisfied with the government, but I'm saying a large part of it was due to intelligence assets penetrating and making the problem worse or trying to exacerbate an existing issue, as well as the fact that the Iranian population, despite their grievances with the government, still hates the United States and Israel more. And so you got two issues, but one is much larger and doesn't cancel the other out. So yeah, maybe they don't like the Ayatollah regime, but they sure as hell don't want to be taken over by the United States and Israel, because they know that comes with an American-backed leader, which means they will favor Israel. And no Iranian wants that unless you're Patrick Bet-David or these other secular ones, and I think they're minute.
They're just not. And here's the thing, guys, like Patrick Bet-David probably won't want to have a discussion on this because it's a losing discussion. He knows that. He's not going to debate any anti-Zionists on this thing. They don't like bringing anti-Zionists on their show because you guys got to remember. So the reason why Patrick Bet-David doesn't like bringing people that are critical of Israel and stuff like that on his show is because he runs a consulting business, guys. His consulting business is what makes the majority of the money. Okay. The podcast is just like to be famous, get clout, and then that will draw people to want to hire him for his consulting service. That's where he makes all of his real money. So someone said they had Nick. Bro, are you retarded? They had Nick because they had enormous amount of pressure to have Nick on. You know what I mean? They did that to like alleviate the stress. But he doesn't want to have they're not trying to have people on like consistently. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not trying to bring on people that are critical of Israel like consistently. He had to do that for a bunch of like political reasons. But they went ahead and they, obviously, they went ahead and after they did that, after they had him on, they pre-recorded, etc. Like, he's probably not gonna have him back on, and I get it. Like anybody, like me,
they had Nick on, but they had Nick on prior to the conflict in Iran, and Patrick's questions to Nick were definitely digging at the whole idea of Israel, and he knows that Nick would cook him inside out if they were to go hard into that topic, but he kind of kept it surface level, and it was more of like a let's disarm you and let's show the media why you're not as bad as they frame you to be kind of interview. But if like Patrick were to have some sort of debate with Nick or anybody else in the space for that matter, he knows that's like that would destroy his image, so he would never do that. But yeah, no, good point. I got a couple more chats here. It's just bad for business for him to bring anti-Zionists on because his business model is consulting, and in order for him, and he consults with business owners. Guess who owns the businesses, bro? So it just doesn't benefit him financially to have because you guys got to remember the podcast, like running the media business. That's not as profitable as running the consulting business. The media business is what brings in the consulting business. That's where he makes his money, chat. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, they're telling me that my locals is down. I might have to restart stream everywhere, bro. Okay, this is so fucking stupid.
It's so good. We'll conclude. We'll wrap up, and then you can segue into your. I think we're gonna go over true crime. So
yeah, I still gotta do true crime stuff.
Yeah. So we'll finish up here in a moment. I'll read these chats, and then we'll get going. Let's see, where are we?
And then I'll come back, guys, and I'll just run solo.
Okay, so we've got boomers are saying. Oh, okay. Hang on. It has to be blackmail. Why did Trump move Ghislaine? Yeah, maybe. Hey, man,
I know Austin's down, guys. I'm gonna restart my computer and restart everything and just come back on again.
Thanks for that, Igor. Yeah, potentially. I don't think so, but you can never rule things out these days with the situations we have or the circumstances we're dealt with. Let's see. Knows a Game says, are they able to do a ground invasion on Kharg Island? They're probably going to try to. They've been flirting with the idea, but there's nothing's for sure yet. I hope not.
We're talking about that. It's going to be very bad. Scott Ritter, we went over this earlier. It's not going to be good.
It'll be a bad situation. I'd hope not, but anything can happen at this point. We're at war with Iran, and 3 weeks ago, we weren't. So Jaded God Ammo says, boomers are saying they're killing women and children, saying women don't have rights, nor do gays. Yeah, I mean, you got to realize, man, these people are like 60 plus years old. They just, their brains are deteriorating on them. You can't take what they're saying serious. It is what it is. That's just I don't mean to sound like, terrible. The boomers are not going to be with us in the next 10 to 15 years. So their opinions don't matter as much. Unfortunately, though, a good deal of them are policymakers and lawmakers. Albo Ace, Henry Kissinger signed a law that guarantees we give oil to Israel no matter what. Oh yeah. You're talking about the Sinai something in the 80s or 79. I know what you're talking about. Gave oil to Israel no matter what, even if we're experiencing shortages. Yes, I know what you're referring to. There is a deal in this. It's 79. I forget the name. Halus, from a Catholic to Muslim. God bless. Hey, mashallah. God bless you, bro. Okay. That's it for the chats. I hope I didn't miss any. Guys, thank you so much for all the chats and everything like that. And thank you for joining the membership service. I know a lot of you joined that as well. Hey, that's pretty good, man. I think I'm officially at 3 hour mark just now. I hit it. But we covered a good deal of things. Anything we missed? Anything else you wanted to kind of go over?
Nah, I'm just gonna come back on. I'll probably cover some red pill shit that I got to cover that I didn't get a chance to cover before. And then I'm gonna cover the documentary and then a little bit of the red pill documentary as well. But yeah, I'm way behind schedule, bro. So I'm gonna get off right now, restart all my shit, and come back on.
Okay, go for it. I got like 2 more chats, but just go for it. I'm gonna end stream and then, guys, my brother's gonna start up in like 5 minutes. So just check his YouTube and his Kick, and he'll be back.
Yeah, go ahead, you guys. I know my audio is fine, chat, but my OSS is cooked. So I'm gonna end the stream right now, restart my computer, restart my internet, restart everything, and then I'm gonna go for a couple more hours. We're gonna finish up the Red Pill documentary on OSS only, and then we're going to cover that true crime stuff. All right?
Nice.
So I will end stream right now, guys. Go watch my brother on YouTube. He'll be on for a little bit longer while I do all this restarting and shit like that.
Yeah.
Riyadh's report is on YouTube. Okay, guys? Or I'll be back.
All right, bro. Peace. All right. Okay. Got a couple more strats. Wow. Long night. I'm dehydrated. It's Ramadan. Forgive me. Got a couple more chats and then we'll end out here, and you guys will be able to jump over to Myron's stream. He's not live right now yet, but he'll jump back on once he resets everything. So Albo A says, Trump said the pro-regime and pro-Khamenei rallies were AI. Dude has officially lost his mind. He's losing his shit, Albo Ace. He's losing it. He said on Air Force One, the press asked him what happened with that strike on the Iranian school and all those girls who died, specifically about 180. And he goes, well, it wasn't us. It was, I think it was Iran. I think they're very inaccurate in their munitions. And then it pans over to Pete Hegseth and he goes, well, we're investigating. You know, like he gives the professional, like, hey, it was kind of us answer, but now I can't like overturn the president and what he just said. He just put me in a terrible position. So embarrassing. So he's losing it. You can see that he's been affected by his age. He's 79. We got to stop with the old presidents. That's not helpful to the economy or the country as a whole. We need somebody young, man. Micah, welcome to Riyadh Squad. Thank you so much. Don DeMarco for you, man. Welcome to membership, guys. If you don't know, my membership service is active on YouTube. So if you want, it's $5.99 a month. Join, support, help the cause, so I can do this full time at some point. And you guys have really been supporting a lot. So God bless all of you. I really appreciate the love. Let's see. Sogno Sprite says, so basically the strait is not closed for China and Russia. They can set the mines off only for ships trying to get to the U.S. Well, yeah, they can strategically coagulate whatever ships they would want to get through, as well as the fact that they probably have other methods of transporting said oil to China. But the fact of the matter is China's still getting the oil, you know, and the only strategic ships or the only strategy that they would utilize in terms of making the already tight passageway, being the Strait of Hormuz, more difficult to get through would, you know, be militarily opposing these ships with these mines and stuff. But yeah, they have autonomy over how they want to strike. And it's really just their missiles program that poses a threat as well. Like I said, they did a deal with the Chinese government for those CM-302 missiles, I believe is what they're designated as. And those missiles can target ships and not sink them, but do a great deal of damage to the infrastructure on the ship or the way the ship is set up, as well as destroy any military capabilities if it's like a naval carrier or something like that, which is why we repositioned our Gerald Ford, I believe it was, today, and satellite imagery proved that we repositioned our ships because of their missile threat, despite the fact that we said we don't need to do it. So we got caught in a lie. We are actually respecting their military capability. Okay. I think we're caught up on chats. Guys, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate everybody who chatted in. I appreciate everybody who joined the membership service. I'm live twice a week. The days are all over the place. I know it says Thursday and Saturday. I try to make that work, but it's tough. You know, I'm still working a full-time job, but we're making it work, man. We're making it work. Thanks for everybody who has shown love today. Thank you for all the chats. Thank you for subscribing. Check out my clips page on Instagram. My guy Halimi is doing a great job over there. We're almost at 1,000 followers. Here it is right here. I'll pop the screen open so you guys are able to see. Okay. Check me out on Instagram. This is my clips page. Hello. This is my clips page. We've been farming Sneeko a little bit, but that's the last Sneeko clip, okay? I promise. But check it out. Show love here. We got clips coming out every day. I think 2 clips a day. And if you're not always watching the streams, which, look, I know not everybody has 3-4 hours every single night or every other day to watch a long-winded stream, you can at least get some doses in these clips. I got the clips and the shorts on YouTube as well, but they're being uploaded to my Instagram. And my brother's back on Insta as well. He's been fighting the censorship very hard, so you can find him on Insta if you're not already following it. Oh God, is he gone again? Let's see. Uh-oh. They might have banned my brother again. Give me 1 second. Bruh, I think they got him again. Yeah, wow, that took no time. Well, it's Fed React, so maybe he's shadow banned. Try to see if you could find it, but it's not coming up for me. But yeah, that'll be it for the stream. Let's make sure we're all good on chats. Hey, Super Hobby, thank you so much for the super chat. Gorilla Mike, welcome to the membership. Thank you so much, man. Welcome to Riyadh Squad, man. God bless. Thank you for the support, guys. You have a great rest of your night. We got work early in the morning. Not going to get much sleep, but that's why we do it, baby. It's a grind. My brother's going to jump on very soon. Oh, I thought I missed the chat. Sorry. My brother's going to jump on very soon, so jump over there. He's going to do some true crime. But we're giving you guys really good coverage, man. Very good coverage. So God bless everybody who's here. Myron is coming back. Yes, I see you guys asking in the chat. He's coming back. Jump over to his YouTube, but really just watch him on Kick. And, yeah. W's in the chat, guys. Love you. We will be back on likely Thursday, but maybe sooner. If there's a major key development, you guys can always expect to find me here. But that's really all I got, man. Have a good night, everybody. God bless you all. And until next time, peace out.